You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Rain expected the rest of the weekend in Auburn, Alabama, so we are getting ready for the finale of a three-game series between the number 7 Crimson Tide and the number 6 Tigers. Game 2 played out earlier this afternoon. An Alabama win, so the Tide going for a sweep at Jane B. Moore Field. With former national team player and coach Sherry Kemp, I'm Kara Capuano. Last night in the series opener, Sherry, we saw Alexis Osorio pitch a gem.
Oh my goodness, Alexis Osorio was so fun to watch last night. Just a freshman, but she really owned this Auburn lineup. She ended up with 13 strikeouts through a shutout and got Auburn a big win in Game 1.
And we mentioned Game 2 was a win for Alabama. The Tide trailed Auburn 3-2 through 2 innings, then scored 11 unanswered runs.
Well, and look who was in the circle again with Alexis Osorio. She had a big weekend so far. She threw a total of 266 pitches in 24 hours. She only gave up 1 earned run, and she has gotten a ton of offensive support. 14 hits in Game 2, 22 hits on the weekend so far for Alabama.
The lefty Rachel Walters gets the ball to start here for Auburn in the finale of the series. Sherry, what's the scouting report on this pitcher?
Rachel Walters is very capable. She's a junior transfer for Auburn. She's got a very nice curveball. It breaks well. She'll mix her pitches well, try to set that pitch up, and she has kind of been up and down coming into this series. I thought she was in a good place maturity-wise, but she has had a tough go, as actually that entire pitching staff has. ERA of 9.5 in this series.
First pitch is a strike to leadoff batter Demi Turner, the freshman, taking over that leadoff spot, long held by center fielder Haley McClenny. She dropped to about third in the order and has become more productive all around. RBI numbers up. She's getting more walks. But when an opponent has to pitch to her, she will make them pay. And she did that last night at Auburn with a grand slam to put Alabama on the board and really kind of change all of the momentum of that game.
If you follow Coach Patrick Murphy, he makes some very calculated moves at various times. I will never forget the pinch hit for Brittany Rogers in the World Series, which turned out wonderful for them.
Turner puts it on the deck, and her legs, the speed pays off once again for the fleet-footed Turner.
So this is why this lineup change to move Turner to lead off and Haley McClenny to the 3 spot does work. It works on both ends of that because of the speed you see from Demi Turner. She's a smart hitter. She does a nice job working counts, and when she puts the ball down, she can run.
Chandler Dare, your batter now. Starting left fielder as Turner swipes second.
Well, Alabama continues to put the pressure on. Turner right away goes after that first pitch, straight steal of second base. She's in scoring position.
Turner 15 of 18 in stolen bases on the season. Second on the team to McClenny. There drops the bunt. And Jade Rhodes pulled off the bag by the wide throw. So Dare is safe.
You know, you can almost feel the energy of Alabama. They are just coming right after Auburn in this Game 3. You feel the pressure that this Auburn defense is under right now.
That brings up Haley McClenny. Grand slam last night. Typical weekend at the office. McClinney hitting .429 this weekend. 4 RBI off that home run. Also has a double this weekend. And a couple of walks.
I'm going to tell you, I think Auburn is a little bit shell-shocked at this point. I think they were riding high. They were looking forward to this series. It was at home. It was sold out weeks in advance. And they were the leader in the conference. They were sitting up top, riding pretty high.
Foul ball allows us an opportunity to relive Haley McClinney's 3rd home run of the season in grand fashion.
McClinney came up in a prime situation for her. She's a prime-time athlete, and she got it going big time with that grand slam. It was in the 3rd inning. Alabama has scored first in both games. Scored 4 in the 3rd inning last night to go up first, and then they scored right away 2 in the 1st inning earlier today in game 2.
Strike called, so full count. And now 2 in scoring position for McClinney.
Very aggressive base running. Alabama's on a plan of attack. They have been all weekend. I think Coach Murphy showed that when he started Alexis Osorio in game 2.
Did you like that move of him to start Osorio in game 2?
Yes,
you know,
I did.
in the SEC, you win the weekend series by taking 2 of the 3 games. We weren't totally positive we were going to get to game 3 this evening. You can see the darkness in the skies over Jane B. Moore Field. Rain threatening to come in a couple of hours. McClinney, another RBI. Will it be 2? Absolutely. And McClinney into 3rd. Just another day at the office for the All-American, Sherry.
Well, again, it's pressure, pressure, pressure. McClinney hits this ball into right field. It's no big trick. Alabama puts the pressure on to score the 2nd runner, Dare, from 2nd base, and then McClinney with just heads up. As soon as that throw went to home, she took 3rd. She's very fast herself, so Alabama has yet to take their foot off the gas pedal. I don't think they're going to do that until they get all the way back to Tuscaloosa.
Big swing there from senior shortstop Danae Hayes. An outstanding game offensively for her in game 2 of the weekend series earlier today. 3 for 4, 4 RBI, and 3 runs scored.
Couple of doubles for Danae Hayes, too. She's got to be feeling good. This Alabama lineup has some hitters and some players in general who have really come on lately. And that's got to be a great feeling as you near the end of the conference regular season and start to hit tournament time, both the SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament.
Postseason play just around the corner. Most SEC squads with 2 weekend conference series remaining after this weekend, including Alabama and Auburn. 2-2 evens the count to Hayes. Both Alabama and Auburn draw Arkansas in the last 2 weekends, so Alabama home against Tennessee finishes at Arkansas. Auburn, meantime, home against Arkansas finishes at LSU. That's another huge series.
Oh, and we talked about it last night, that may have been the determiner. When we came into this weekend, we thought, hey, look ahead a couple weeks. It may be Auburn and LSU fighting it out, and now, after just a couple games, the whole landscape has changed for the conference regular season title race.
Hayes turns full count into a walk. Runners at the corners now. For catcher Chauncey Bell, Bell with a pair of solo home runs in the Friday night weekend opener.
Here's one of those players for Alabama that I would say is feeling pretty good right now. She's been steady as a catcher. She's caught 2 fabulous games from Alexis Osorio. And you have to give some of that credit, certainly, to Chauncey Bell. And then just offensively, she's been a machine this weekend.
A 2 RBI double in the game earlier today to complement the 2 home runs last night. Conversation in the circle between Walters and her catcher. Courtney Shea is the backstop for this game. There's a platooning between a pair of freshman catchers for Auburn, and Courtney Shea and Carly Wallace. One and one on the way. Let's revisit Chauncey Bell's night last night. A power surge. Well, that was Haley McClinney. She hit the first of 3 home runs for Alabama, the grand slam. And we'll get back to Bell. The ball gets away from Shea. McClinney scores. And then the ball rolls away from Walters. I don't know that she recalled that Danae Hayes had the opportunity to advance another base. Now she's close as can be to scoring.
I'll tell you, these Auburn players just look down. They look discouraged. And you see this pitch get away from Shea. Wild pitch by Walters. Shea hustles, gives it a toss. Walters not able to bring it down. But I'll tell you, Alabama is not stopping. They just continue to take the extra base. That's a good heads-up move by Hayes.
Come on, Tiger!
Already some activity in the bullpen for the Auburn Tigers.
It's Marcy Harper. She has appeared in both the games of this series.
Bell floats that one to the shortstop, Haley Fagan, with the first out of the frame.
Yeah, believe it or not, for the first out. Auburn went through all 4 pitchers on their staff in game 2. Lexi Davis started, Harper came in relief, then Walters, and finally Jenna Abbott.
Marissa Runyon, the batter now for Alabama, and what a week for her, Sherry. In 4 games over the week, 7 hits and 12 at-bats, 11 RBI, 4 runs, hitting .583 in her last 4 games. 2 home runs in the game earlier today.
Well, and the kicker about Runyon is that she was hot coming into this series. We had our eye on her to begin with. You could see her numbers, and now she's had 17 RBIs in her last 15 games. And again, you talk about this is the home stretch. So this is that stretch in the season where you really want to see things come into fruition, the things you've been working on, trying to put together. And the good athletes have not gotten too far down. They continue to try to climb. They're working in practices to make themselves better. And this is where you kind of start to see the cream rise to the top and see that hard work pay off.
So many foul balls this inning. Our home plate umpire, Jay Grigsby, had to refuel. Two and two on the way to the third baseman, the sophomore from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Into right. To the tree. Marissa Marissa Runyon continues to pound the softball.
Well, this right here is called having a day. Marissa Runyon just took a pitch that she knows that you could see the smile come across her face. That was not too bad of a pitch. It may have been in the middle a little bit, but it was down in the zone, and she just yanked it.
"12 home runs, 55 RBI on the season for Marissa Runyon, both leading Alabama. Jaden Spencer, your batter now, just one out, and already 5 runs on the board for the Crimson Tide. We didn't really know how this weekend was going to go. Last night, at the bottom of the first inning, Auburn loaded the bases. Thought Alexis Osorio was in trouble. She really decided to bear down, got out of the inning, no runners across, ended up tying her season/career, because she's a freshman, high with 13 strikeouts. Strike out every inning, struck out the side a couple of times.
Well, the time you alluded to right away in that first inning with her getting in trouble and then pitching her way out of it, that was a huge turning point for her. I think it gave her a lot of confidence. They're playing away from home. They had a rain delay. They're playing in front of an Auburn crowd, record crowd. And she just bowed up, got herself out of it, and never looked back, really.
She struck out the side in that first inning with the bases loaded. The heart of the lineup, Brandy Malero, Haley Fagan, Jade Rhodes for Auburn, and the rest of the evening, that part of the lineup was stricken by Alexis Osorio.
She didn't blink, and you know, she went right after their big hitters. So you look at somebody like Rhodes and Fagan, Osorio just owned those two all night long. She had a total, those two struck out a total of 8 times, 4 each against Osorio in the 2 games. Those are big hitters. Those are hitters that are putting up big numbers, as is Auburn as a team overall. But their Achilles heel is pitching, and they just have not been able to find an answer this weekend for Alabama.
Looks like there will be a change in the circle for the Auburn Tigers as Marcy Harper is handed the ball.
This is actually the exact opposite that we felt like we would see coming into this. So if you would have said that you are going to see a whole bunch of home runs from one team and not a whole lot out of another team, we would have guessed that the home run hitting team would have been Auburn, not Alabama, and the stats would have stood behind us. But again, it's the old cliche, that's why you play the game, and this one has certainly turned toward Alabama.
Head coach Clint Myers out in the circle now, buying a little bit more time. And now it looks like Clint Myers is having a conversation with Jay Grigsby, the home plate umpire. What's this conversation about, Sherry?
I think I'm not sure that he's not just completing his substitution there, or I'm not sure. I have no idea what the conversation is.
To your point, could just be a matter of making sure substitution is properly managed. Well, those of you who are watching lacrosse on ESPNU, we welcome you to Jane B. Moore Field in Auburn, Alabama. Another great crowd for this weekend series between these heated rivals in the Southeastern Conference. Number 7 Alabama at number 6 Auburn. The Crimson Tide have taken the first 2 games of this weekend series. So we bring you the finale, an opportunity for Alabama to sweep its rival, and a 5-0 lead in the top of the first. With former U.S. national team player and coach Sherry Kempf, I'm Kara Capuano. Sherry, what's the scouting report on Auburn's new pitcher, Marcy Harper?
Harper comes in relief. She likes to work the top of the zone. She can go, you can see she'll use the rise and curve a lot. She can go both sides. And she needs to prioritize getting that leadoff batter and that leadoff hitter when she's in that situation. Now she's coming in relief. She wants to stay in attack mode.
Rachel Walters started this game, faced 7 batters, and a tough outing for her.
She ends up giving up 5 runs, all of them earned.
Couple of walks, a costly wild pitch.
Harper has a total of 3 innings pitched in the series overall. She only has 1 walk, but she's hit a couple.
Deep foul ball off the bat of Leona Lafayette. Jaden Spencer on first. She walked. And now Lafayette walks. 2 straight walks from 2 different pitchers. Let's revisit some of the action here in the top of the first inning. A couple of singles, a couple of stolen bases, then Haley McClinney up in the 3 spot in the batting order. A 2 RBI single, gets all the way to third on an error. Marissa Runyon, a 2-run home run. That's her 3rd home run today. This is game 2 of a doubleheader. They kind of tweaked the scheduling of the weekend series, moving the games up a day because of 100% chance of rain tomorrow in Auburn, Alabama. So they wanted to get in all 3 games of the weekend, and they did that by playing last night in the series opener and then a doubleheader today. So this is the deciding game 3, and we are at the bottom of the lineup. Alabama's 9th hitter of the inning is Andrea Hawkins. Hawkins hasn't played yet this weekend. She's in the lineup as the designated player. Leslie Jury is the starting pitcher for Alabama in this game. But we continue with this colossal top of the first inning. 2 on, just 1 out. Batter swinging for the 2nd out of the inning.
It's a big strikeout for Marcy Harper. Sure, she did not expect to be in this game this soon. It may take her a bit to get settled down.
To your point, Sherry, now both runners are out there in scoring position. Back to the top of the lineup. Demi Turner singled and then stole the first base of the weekend for either team. Chandler Dare on deck singled right behind her, and she stole the base. Nice play by Emily Carasoni, the 2nd baseman for Auburn. But a whole lot of runs on the board. Alabama with a 5-0 lead. For those of you watching this game on ESPN News, we're continuing our coverage on ESPNU. Be sure to join us. The Auburn Tigers have had troubles offensively against Alabama's Alexis Osorio. Leslie Jury is the starting pitcher in this game for Alabama. How does she differ, Sherry?
Well, Leslie Jury throws hard. She has a very good changeup. She'll work to set that up. She throws a nice little screwball. And this season, she's worked very hard to improve her strikeout to walk ratio. She's a senior, she's seasoned. She had a very good complete game outing on Wednesday night against NC State. It turned into a win for her. And this is a big game for her to try to close this out for Alabama and help them get what would be a very huge sweep.
1-0 on the way to Tiffany Howard, the leadoff hitter for the Auburn Tigers. And the reason that we led into this bottom of the first inning with all of the beautiful pictures of the Auburn players just tagging softballs right and left at ballparks around America, this lineup is potent and powerful. Auburn coming into the weekend in the Southeastern Conference, leading the league in team batting average, runs, slugging percentage, home runs, RBI, on-base percentage. Every important stat category, Auburn is dominating in this league.
And so many people talking about that. They're hitting .365 as a team. Overall, they're hitting .342 as a team inside conference play. And just that list of being at the top of all those categories. But I think folks knew as well that the challenge for them could be pitching. Were they going to be able to keep good offenses down? And so far this year, they've done just a great job of outscoring people. Had a game earlier this season. Tennessee put up a 6 in the first inning, and Auburn ended up winning that game. So they've had a lot of confidence, but I'm going to tell you something. Alexis Osorio went a long way to take that confidence away in the last 2 games.
Howard, as usual. Tiffany Howard, Auburn's leadoff hitter, has reached base safely in every game this year. 49 games that she's been on base. 49 for 49.
Well, Danae Hayes just not able to reel that one in. It's a fairly routine play for her. Just gets away from her.
Danae Hayes started her career as Alabama's second baseman in her freshman season, then moved over to the shortstop position. We talked to Patrick Murphy leading into the weekend series, and the thing that he's most impressed about with Hayes is just her ease and her grace with those routine plays. Nobody's perfect, but that's something that she has worked so hard to improve, and she's been able to do it. 0-1 on the way now to Emily Carasoni. Lifted into left. Single to keep the party going for Auburn.
What Auburn has to realize is that there's a lot of game, actually the whole game left for them, and they just want to start chipping away. They should know that they're good hitters. They've seen themselves do it over and over throughout this season. They know this is what they're known for. And they just have to try to make it as small as possible, one at-bat at a time, and keep your eyes off the scoreboard for right now.
Clint Myers, such outstanding success in his 8 years at Arizona State. He's in his second year now on the Plains. To really put a value on that success, Sherry, 7 trips to Oklahoma City, the Women's College World Series, in 8 years at Arizona State. We might not see that matched again, that level of consistency.
2 national titles.
Those coming in 2008 and 2011 with the Sun Devils of ASU. And now with Auburn, back-to-back 40-win seasons. There's only 5 40-win seasons in Auburn's team history. And Clint Myers 2 for 2 in 40-win years.
See Jury mixing in that changeup, really trying to establish that pitch early on. And it'll be important for her.
3-1 count now to one of the most dangerous hitters in the conference, if not the nation. Casey Cooper to the second baseman. Can they turn two? Wow, double play. Turner to Hayes to Lafayette for 2 outs.
These are the kind of big plays that you're looking for. Alabama has just kept the needle on their side, and this is just a beautiful play. Turner backhands it to Hayes, who flips it across.
Brandy Malero, your batter now. The Auburn senior out of Canyon Country, California. All SEC. Every year she was on the SEC All-Freshman team, second team in 2013, first team All SEC last year. Having a campaign that would merit All-Conference and perhaps All-American looks again. She was a first-team All-American last year, Auburn's first NFCA first-team All-American. But having a tough weekend offensively, Brandon Malero. Seeking her first hit of the weekend. And there it is! And an RBI single at that. Auburn's on the board.
Malero came into this weekend on fire, but has been stymied until this. She was 0 for 7, gets one through. This is important for Auburn. You got to run 60 feet away, 2 outs. It's really important to try to make something happen right there for Malero, and she does it.
Morgan Estelle, 2 for 4 on the weekend with a walk. A run scored.
Had a little shakeup in the Auburn lineup, and part of that was to move Estelle to the 5 spot. She's been sitting a little lower throughout the season, but she's we always talk about the consistency of Morgan Estelle. She's been she's sort of held that true in the last couple of games when a few of her teammates seem to be a little bit more stymied. So it's been Fagan that's sat up in this 5 spot through most of the season. She's dropped down to the 8 hole, and Estelle came up top, shook things up a little.
The lineup equally shaken up last weekend when Casey Cooper couldn't participate for the weekend series at Texas A&M. She was held out for some health reasons. That made defensive and offensive changes, so Auburn's trying to kind of get back to the rhythm and routine they like as they shore up for the postseason stretch.
Clint Myers isn't a guy that does a lot of lineup flip-flopping. That lineup stayed really steady through more than 40 games, but now it's only Howard and Carasoni that haven't moved. They're in the 1-2 spot. They're the only ones that have been in those spots in every game. Nice job by Chauncey Bell at catcher to grab that pitch, and then just she's very alert back there. We're seeing her play with a lot of confidence. She may have had the game of her college career last night for Alabama. A couple home runs, caught the 13 strikeout performance by Osorio.
She not only caught 13 strikeout performance, but a pair of solo home runs. exuding a lot of confidence. Her energy certainly rubs off on the team. Full count now to Estelle. Got a quick look at Alexis. Watching this game after doing a lion's share of the work this weekend to propel Alabama to the series win. Can Jury lead them to the series sweep? Off the mid of Hayes, rolls into center field. Will another run score for Auburn? Absolutely. Persistent, relentless base running from Brandy Malero.
Very nice job by Morgan Estelle. Again, stays in there, goes with that pitch. This is almost a web gem by Danae Hayes. She makes a great dive, great stab, almost a terrific play. But Brandy Malero hustling around to score. Clint Myers, I had my eye on him to see if he was going to go for it. He's got 2 outs. You've had 2 hits back to back. You want to try and extend that good fortune there and push the run. That's a good situation.
And now Estelle in scoring position for Jade Rhodes. We've talked about the power. A lot of it has come from Auburn's first baseman, with Emily Carasoni, the second baseman, and third baseman Casey Cooper. They all have over 15 home runs on the season. It's the first time Auburn has ever had that as a program.
So much power up and down the lineup. Jade Rhodes so far with just a frustrating series.
Lays off that one. And a peel down the line. Tim Casati says nope, 2-1.
Well, this is nothing against Leslie Jury, but I'm going to tell you, I guarantee you those Auburn hitters are happy to see anybody standing in the circle besides Osorio.
You mentioned Rhodes' weekend, 1 for 6 through the first 2 games. Hitters count now. To the number 6 hitter for Auburn. Pair of back-to-back RBI singles for Brandy Malero and Morgan Estelle. Count full now. Jade Rhodes, the junior out of Sarasota, Florida. If you recognize the last name. Her dad, Arthur, played pro baseball for 21 years. 20 in the major leagues, won a World Series in 2011 as a member of the St. Louis Cardinals. A lefty relief pitcher. You always need a good lefty relief pitcher. Lefty middle reliever. Glorious in Major League Baseball. Ball 4.
Talked about the effort Chauncey Bell's putting forth back there. She's become the everyday catcher as a senior. Again, somebody else that sort of sat behind a couple of quality catchers. We see her do a very good job in blocking. Those types of moves are sort of taken for granted sometimes, but those can be big, especially in this situation. You got runners on, capable of moving around. We saw Alabama hustle around the bases, take a couple of extra bases. A couple different players, just heads-up base running.
Chauncey Bell learned her craft, waiting behind all SEC catchers, Kendall Dawson and Molly Fickner. Fickner, a volunteer coach this year with Alabama, so I'm sure they're in constant communication. But when you have those established veterans in front of you and you have to wait your turn. You do it, and you can shine at the end of your career. First pitch inside to Jenna Abbott. Abbott's 0 for 3 on the weekend with an RBI. .340 hitter for the season with 11 RBI. 3 doubles. 2-0 now. Two on, two out, 2-1 count to Jenna Abbott. Back at the pitcher. Drury sticks out her mitt, gets the third out, but Auburn is on the board. A pair of runs to cut into Alabama's lead. It's 5-2. College softball is brought to you by Geico and Bass Pro Shops. The series history between Alabama and Auburn has been pretty heavily loaded in the favor of the Crimson Tide. Alabama leads the all-time series 14-15. Auburn last won a series against their in-state rivals in 2004, and Alabama did win the last meeting before this weekend in the SEC tournament. Now, the way that the conference is structured with 13 teams, you don't face every team every year. So last year, Auburn and Alabama did not play each other. They played twice, but not in a traditional weekend series since. This is the first time that both teams have been ranked in the top 10 when meeting for the weekend series. Well, those 5 runs that Alabama scored in the first inning were the most against an SEC opponent this season. Chandler Dare singled in the first inning, stole second, came around to score on Haley McClenny's 2 RBI single. Dare, the local product, the local girl named All-State 4 times from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, the American Christian Academy.
Regardless of how this game turns out, this Alabama team will go back to Tuscaloosa with a feather in their cap, just having won the series. And I think more importantly, I think they've turned a corner. I think they've really proven to a lot of people that their pitching staff is legit. They had numbers that you had to take notice of coming into this weekend. That was what jumped out, was the impressive performance of their pitching staff, and they really lived up to it. And, you know, again, they were put to a test. This wasn't a team with a sub-300 batting average coming into this series. This is one of the teams that is definitely the very best in the nation offensively.
Dare befuddled. Second strikeout for Harper.
It's a nice job by Marcy Harper. She puts herself in a good situation and then runs a screwball right through the strike zone. Courtney Shea, nice job behind the plate, just sticking that pitch. Sort of a different situation from the catcher's position for Auburn. We talked about Chauncey Bell for Alabama, but Auburn splits the time, as you mentioned earlier, Kara, between Carly Wallace and Courtney Shea.
Different than what Clint Myers was used to at Arizona State. He had Amber Freeman the last couple of years. She has long been the everyday catcher for the Sun Devils. Well, that's what the best coaches do. They come in, they look at the personnel available. Haley McClinney off the wall. Going for the double. Safe. McClinney's 13th double of the season to lead Alabama.
She plays this game at top speed all the time. Watch her go into second base. She knew she wanted a double. She turns the corner and makes it happen.
Look at the helmet. Helmet down. She has to look up under the brim to see the sign from the umpire there. She is fun.
She's having a great weekend.
Hayes with a high fly. No problem for Fagan for the second out. Haley McClinney and the player right behind her in that shot, Emily Carasoni. They were both named to the top 26 finalists for National College Player of the Year. Usually it's 25 named at the midseason, but they went with 26 this year because there was a tie somewhere along the way. McClinney was also a finalist last year and made it to the second cut. They will soon announce the top 10 finalists, and then they will whittle it to 3 and announce the Player of the Year before the Women's College World Series. Chauncey Bell into foul territory, but an easy out for Rhodes, third out of the frame. So a double by Haley McClinney, but she's left in scoring position. College softball is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And Bass Pro Shops, your adventure starts here. Sellout crowds anticipated all weekend long at Jane B. Moore Field, and why not as we take a look at the updated SEC softball standings. Two of the top teams in the league, Auburn and Alabama, both 12-5, but looking up right now at Florida, 13-4. The Gators have won the first 2 of the weekend series in Athens against Georgia, and they will play Game 3 tomorrow, and that's a game you can watch right here on ESPNU at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. I know what I'll be doing on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, look who snuck into that top spot while they're battling it out in Alabama.
Top spot in the league and top spot in the country. Florida also snuck back into that this week. As we go 1, 2, 3, Florida, Oregon, LSU off the top in the national rankings. Haley Fagan, your batter now, the starting shortstop for most of the season. She did move over to third when Casey Cooper was unable to play in the field as she recovered from some health issues. But back in her cozy shortstop spot now. A slow roller to the third baseman Runyon for the first out. Deja vu all over again. We were just talking about this game. Coverage of college softball continuing Sunday afternoon on ESPNU. That SEC showdown I mentioned. Number 1 Florida at number 12 Georgia, the defending national champs, looking to sweep their rivals from Athens. Coverage 1 o'clock Eastern on ESPNU, also on Watch ESPN. Courtney Shea, your batter now. Shea just 0 for 1 on the weekend. Carly Wallace started the first 2 games of this weekend series at catcher. Shea did come in a pinch hitting role last night. the freshman out of Mountain Brook, Alabama.
Spoke to Coach Myers earlier in the week, and he said the one word he thought described this team was destined. He believes this team is destined for greatness. And he said, you know what, it doesn't matter where you are. He was talking about them being at the top of the conference, but he said it doesn't matter where you are middle of the way through. It matters where you are at the end. And I think this is one of those weekends for Auburn that could really define them. It's, you hate it when you're going through it, but it's how you respond to it. And everybody knows that good athletes are not the ones that never have a bad day. They're the ones that pick themselves up and dust themselves off and turn a corner. And this could be that type of a weekend for Auburn. They'll have to sort of weigh it all out tomorrow and get going again.
Jury's first strikeout of the game. And now we're back to the top of the order with Auburn's Tiffany Howard. There's a little bit that matters at this point in the season because obviously, Sherry, all these top-tier teams are playing for, if not one of the top 8 seeds in the country for the NCAA tournament field, one of the top 16. At least you get to host the regional weekend to embark on your road to the Women's College World Series, and Clint Myers brought that up, how invigorating it would be for these fans in Auburn to be able to host in postseason play.
He talks a lot about the fans in Auburn and the focus that the program, the administration overall has had on delivering quality softball. And in turn, some things that he's tried to do with his team to affect the community in a real positive way. And not different at all from what you've seen out of the Tide players since Patrick Murphy took over the helm so long ago. It's his 17th season now, and that's a team that folks will tell you around Tuscaloosa is certainly involved. They deliver season tickets to season ticket holders, and those are all sort of the mastermind ideas from Coach Murphy to make sure that you endear yourselves to your fans.
Selfie.
He recognizes that does not happen automatically.
They've worked so hard, Alabama softball, to be a part of that community, and now Auburn is responding in turn. I think that especially with fast pitch at the Division I level, Sherry, the fans, they really identify with the players. They feel like part of that, the family, the softball family. We see the lines of the autograph lines after the game. It's like one of my favorite things to see. All the young players, as Howard draws a walk on base for a second time tonight, lining up to have a moment with their favorite stars, an encouraging word, an autograph, perhaps a picture.
Well, it's sort of the whole nature of the game, too. You look at the proximity here of the fans to the field. Most softball fields, the stadiums now have fans very close to the action, and they are connected. They do feel a part, and these are athletes that do not really have that sense of entitlement. They're grateful for their fan base. They're happy to share time with them post-game and in special events. So I think people really appreciate that, and I don't think it's hard to feel the sincerity that you get from these athletes.
Plenty of Alabama fans scattering through the crowd, primarily orange and navy, as this weekend series is in Auburn, but Tuscaloosa and Auburn just a couple hours drive apart. So you see plenty of crimson scattered out there too. Keep your eyes on the game, guys. Come on. Oh boy, snacks and drinks. All kinds of things happening. 1-1 on the way to Carasone. We mentioned Carasone is one of the finalists for National Player of the Year for sophomore season. Named an NFCA third-team All-American and All-SEC second-teamer. Hit .392 last year, flirted with .400 all season. Well above that this year, almost batting .500. The appeal? No. Christina Drum has spoken. The count is even.
Talking about Emily Carasoni, 67 RBIs on the season. Not a lot of people breathing that air with her right now, even on a national scale.
Tied for the team lead in home runs with Jade Road at 17. And just ahead of her, Tiffany Howard's batting average coming into the weekend, third in the nation. A whopping .507 right now. Pulled it down the line. Going for two. Stand up double for Emily Carasoni. Surprised Tiffany Howard didn't score there, Sherry.
Well, the kicker was, for some reason, she holds up at second base. She gets doubtful. You got 2 outs. This ball clearly goes through the infield, and Howard, who has wheels, hesitates a little bit at second base. She acts like she got a little confused. Maybe she thought the play was going to be a little closer, but remember, Malero scored from first in the last inning on a base hit, and it may have happened with Howard had she not had that little snafu at second base.
Team leading 15th double of the season for Emily Carasoni. Conversation in the circle between the tied infielders.
So Auburn got their rally going in the first inning with 2 outs.
Another 2-out rally here, it seems.
Scored both those runs, yes.
Heading right into the meat of the order with Cooper, Malero, and Estelle. Malero and Estelle both with RBI singles in the first inning.
Cooper started out the weekend series just as a DP, so she was on the disabled list last weekend and out of the lineup completely. Then they bring her in as a hitter for game 1. She started in that spot in game 2, but about halfway through they went ahead and brought her out on defense as well. She's a key hitter for Auburn.
Two on, 2 out, 1-1 to Cooper. Here's some encouragement from the Auburn dugout, chanting Cooper. In her freshman year, a school record 18 home runs. She has 16 already. Her 77 RBI were second in the Southeastern Conference to her teammate Brandy Malero, who had 78. She also scored 70 times to tie for first in the Southeastern Conference. Hit .418, all of these accolades part of why she was named National Co-Freshman of the Year in the first year that the award was handed out. 2-2. Got her swinging. 2 left on, 2 strikeouts in the inning for Leslie Jury. Marissa Runyon has 3 home runs today. What will she do next? Number 7, Alabama, and number 6, Auburn. Aubie in the house. That's Aubie the Tiger taking some pictures with the fans. One of my favorite mascots. He's just pretty joyful. Lots of fans turning out all weekend, sellout crowds, donning crimson as well as navy and orange. At some point we've heard the chanting back and forth, Roll Tide in one section, War Eagle in the other. Those are the sayings belonging to the 2 schools. As Marissa Runyon leads off the inning for Alabama. What a day for Runyon. Pair of home runs, 5 RBI in the first game today. And then a 2-run home run in the first inning of this one. That a simple fly out to center, capably handled by Morgan Estelle. Haley McClinney helping to keep the focus in the Alabama dugout. Couple center fielders there, Estelle and McClinney for Auburn and Bama. First pitch swinging for Jaden Spencer. Drops a shot into left. Holds up for a single.
I think it's been a good weekend, good series for Jaden Spencer. She seems to be getting back to her old form. She's had a nice run. She does a good job with that one.
Spencer on the weekend now, Sherry, 2 for 6 with 4 walks. Leona Lafaele following suit, first pitch swinging. A catch in left for Tiffany Howard for the second out of the inning. Andrea Hawkins, your hitter now. She struck out. Nice play by Howard. Hawkins, the junior out of Bay City, Texas. She played with the Team USA junior national team with Haley McClinney back in 2013. Highly touted out of Bay City High School in Texas. Into left. A 2-out inning for Tiffany Howard. (5-2) as we get ready for the bottom of the third. You know, each year, softball teams across the country come up with new creative ways to foster team building and team chemistry for the season ahead. Let's take a deeper look at that.
Each one of our players has to take, whether it's coffee, lunch, breakfast, dinner, take each player out on the team to hopefully get to know them better. So it's not about competition, it's more about the person.
But you know, we have 20 girls on this team. That's a lot of dates you have to go on. So
I enjoy getting to know the kids off the field. We clean the street and we pick up trash, and we're picking up trash together and we can chat. So it builds relationships.
We have a little joke that picking up trash equals base hits. And so every piece of trash that we pick up, you know, that equals a base hit that's going to take us to get to where we need to be.
Camp Pendleton is a trip to remember. It was team bonding to a T when you're on an Army base and you're doing things that you didn't think your body's made to do. So it was a powerful weekend.
We went to a turkey farm this year. We did all kinds of chores and tasks, team-related stuff. They'll never forget it, I can assure you that. I laughed the entire weekend.
well, I had to milk a cow, and it almost pooped on me.
They opened these barn doors, and there's thousands of turkeys. We're like, what? And then they told us we had to catch them, and we were like, oh my gosh, how is this going to happen? So it was a lot of fun to see each other come together, even over turkeys.
You never know what is going to make a difference and really bring teammates together, Sherry. Do you remember any experiences from your team years? I mean, certainly turkey farm is. None that I can talk about.
That turkey thing was real unique. They kind of look like chickens.
You're a Missouri gal.
Mm-hmm. I've never done that, I got to tell you.
A memory they'll have forever, that I can guarantee. Bottom of the third inning. Alabama with a 3-run lead over their in-state rivals. Auburn leaving 2 on in the last inning, bringing 2 across in the first. Brandy Malero leading it off.
See Leslie Jury go to that screwball a lot. She's real comfortable with that pitch. She's also very comfortable with her changeup, which is a highly effective pitch for her.
Ahead now, 1-2 against Malero is Jury. Malero recently drafted into the National Pro Fast Pitch League, taken in the 5th round to play for the Chicago Bandits.
It's important to note the difference that you're seeing. Both starting seniors for Auburn were drafted into the NPF, but you look around that lineup, a lot of juniors, sophomores, they have a lot of young talent, so a lot of their production will be coming back for another season in 2016. You look at Alabama, it's the battery today, Jury and Chauncey Bell, both seniors. Danae Hayes at shortstop. Jaden Spencer in right field. Those seniors were freshmen in 2012 when Alabama won the first national championship for them and for the SEC.
Malero strikes out to open the 3rd, so back-to-back Ks for Leslie Jury. College baseball continues next Saturday here on ESPNU. 9th-ranked Miami hosting their in-state rivals. 13th-ranked Florida State. First pitch Saturday night, 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPNU and watch ESPN. Morgan Estelle, you mentioned, also drafted like Malero. Estelle picked in the 3rd round, 12th overall by the Akron Racers.
It's a pretty cool video of her actually standing on the field watching the video board, watching her name be called out.
Auburn has put together a very nice piece I'm sure you can find on YouTube with both Estelle and Malero's reactions, and that's the thing that I think is so special. Just when you see the seniors' excitement that they can continue at the professional level.
There it is. There's that changeup by Leslie Jury and the subsequent reaction by Chauncey Bale back there. She'll give you some fist pumps.
That one low. Count even now. Both these teams, the leadership piece, these are two head coaches that aren't real big rah-rah, name the captains kind of guys. Patrick Murphy said the cream rises to the top for Clint Myers. Their philosophy has always been the seniors have earned that right. Estelle earning the right once again, her leadership. The example she sets, so solid.
And again, a nice coaching move by Clint Myers to adjust this lineup a little bit. In Morgan Estelle's last at bat, she got an RBI with 2 outs, and this time she singles up the middle. So you talk about kind of looking for those hot hitters, looking for hitters that are on a roll and trying to get them in an optimal position in that lineup so that you can really capitalize on what they're doing.
First pitch low to Rhodes. She walked in her first at bat against Jury. Rhodes, another of the potent RBI machines in this Auburn lineup. Carasoni leading the way. Casey Cooper and Jade Rhodes just behind, both over 50 RBI on the season. And Brandy Malero closing in on 50 as well. We asked Clint Myers, what does that leadership from the seniors look like? And he says, well, he has them actively involved in day-to-day decision-making. And he's talking about all the stuff the coaches don't want to do, Sherry. What uniforms are we wearing? What time are we meeting? What time are we having dinner? But, you know, they have the experience. They know what works best for the team. So, of course, you have the seniors speak for the team on that. And he loves what he's seen from Estelle, who's on first, Malero, and Mackenzie Kilpatrick, another senior for this team, a catcher out of Montgomery, Alabama. 2-2 on the way. Lined right at Hayes. Estelle ranging too far off the base. Double play, second turned by the Tide in this game.
It's another big defensive play by Alabama. Just when you think you might be in trouble, you pull out a nice little double play and wrap it all up.
She is something else, I'll tell you that.
I mean, just being able to play with a lot of the top teams in the country and knowing that your team can be one of them.
We love competition.
Can't take any team lightly. What fun it is to play in the best league in the land.
I've never seen the SEC more stacked and loaded than it is now.
You're playing against the #1 team in the country in the SEC tournament.
Southeastern Conference and softball is where it is.
Coverage of the 2000 SEC softball tournament begins very soon. You've got 9 SEC teams in this week's top 25, 4 in the top 10. And when you look at where this conference ranks in RPI, the determining factor in the seeding for the upcoming NCAA tournament, who gets into the field, I mean, look at all those teams in the top 20 alone.
It's very impressive. And again, it's not the polls, it's not the weekly polls that matter. It's the RPI that really determines where teams go, who gets into the NCAA tournament, how they're seeded. And then you talked about it just a little bit earlier, Kara, as far as it's that seeding that really dictates who hosts. If you're going to be home the first weekend for regionals and the second weekend for super regionals.
Crazy spin off the ball there.
If you're a top 8 seed, you get to stay home for both weekends and try to take advantage of that home field, sleeping in your own bed. So many of these SEC teams, we've seen the shots of this Auburn crowd all night long, or all day long rather, and that's, you know, you talk about home field advantage. Certainly get it.
So Turner called back in after a foul ball and then legs out another single, her second of the game, to lead off the 5th.
It's impressive what we're seeing from Demi Turner. She puts the ball down. If she can put it into the ground hard like she does this one, get the high bounce, she's going to beat that out all day long.
The speed, so impressive from the leadoff hitter, Demi Turner, but what Patrick Murphy is also impressed by, her ability to swing away. Demi Turner now with 4 hits today, 6 in the weekend series. That's exactly what you want from your leadoff hitter. We've talked about the unbelievable batting average for Tiffany Howard, but Turner coming into the weekend at 450 herself. A lot of chatter, support coming from Alabama's dugout when the team's on offense. Dare moves Turner over.
Dare does her job right here. The call is to sacrifice bunt. Now she puts it in a nice spot. She tries to drop it right up the middle, but Casey Cooper, you see her come across, take that over, go right in front of Marcy Harper, and that's her play. It was well executed to get that out. but Chandler Dare's job was to move Turner to second base. She could get herself on, that's just sort of gravy.
Hear one of my favorite little in-stadium songs that they play, getting everybody to clap their hands. My favorite time of year, be outside. Not with the dangerous clouds threatening in the sky. That's not my favorite part of the spring season, but everything else, balmy, warm.
Seeing Corey Myers take a walk to the mound right now, and not so surprising that they're going to have just a quick little chat on how to deal with Haley McClenny. So right now you have a situation where first base is open. I wouldn't pitch to her.
McClenny, 482 average coming into the game today. 2 RBI single in the first and a double in the third. Marcy Harper had a great inning in the top of the fourth, just a 7-pitch inning. A couple of first pitch swinging toward the bottom of the order for Alabama. Got in and out of that one pretty quickly. Could be a different story here, as we saw Rachel Walters struggle in the first with this potent top of the lineup.
Well, if you walk McClenny, you're going to set up a forced play, and they're not coming close, but Harper's going to have to make sure she doesn't throw a wild pitch.
Harper, the junior out of Hoover, Alabama. Haley McClenny, a junior out of Morris, Alabama. And you know that collegiate softball is not the first time these players have seen each other. 4-pitch walk to Haley McClenny. Her team leading 43rd walk of the season. Third time she's been walked this weekend.
I like that strategy. I'd take my chances against anybody, almost, besides McClenny. She's such an emotional leader for this team. She's a 2-time All-American. She's a current member of Team USA, just as a junior at Alabama. And you just watch her mannerisms, and she can fire up the crowd, she can fire up her teammates.
McClenny leading the Alabama career record books in batting average, on base percentage. She's 6th in stolen bases, but she's over 90% for her career in success in steals, and only 2 other players had that kind of success in their careers. The speedy ones, Jen Fenton and Kima Davis. 1-2 to Hayes.
It's a big pitch, and that works out really well for Auburn. So get around Haley McClenny, go after Danae Hayes. Marcy Harper comes up with some real quality pitches. There's her rise ball. And she gets Hayes just underneath it.
Third strikeout of the game for Harper. But the first pitch misses to Chauncey Bell. Recently, the Tide had an exercise where the team needed to write down 3 things. What's going well the first part of the year? What can you improve on? And what have you learned about yourself? And they each wrote down their responses and shared them with the team. Coach Murphy big in the team chemistry. We saw that package there in the 3rd inning, and this is one of the exercises Alabama participated in. 3-0 on the way. Bell basically stood up in front of her team, the senior catcher, and said, "I've learned that I am the stuff." I'm paraphrasing her answer. But the team loved it, Sherry. They went nuts. She continues to be that go-to player for Alabama in her senior year.
Remember the speed of Demi Turner at second base going to third. This is a run-saving play by Haley Fagan at short. To keep that ball in front of her, you could have very well seen Coach Murphy send Turner and take his chances at home plate to try to broaden that lead. So it's a great play by Fagan, regardless of the fact that she wasn't able to get an out.
Sometimes just to smother is enough. Big cut there from Runyon. It's a 3-home run day, you know. She probably was thinking, gosh, grand slam opportunity, people.
Yeah, you think?
I think.
So speaking of Runyon, earlier this year, she had a 2-home run game. And it was the first one. She had a 3-run home run in that one and a solo home run. That was the first time anybody had done that since Jackie Traina in March of 2013. Runyon just bested that because she did it again.
Great job by Courtney Shea to haul in that ball and keep another run off the board. This is a catcher helping out a pitcher right here.
Watch Shea. She makes a heck of a snag on that pitch.
Count even 2-2 to Runyon. The base is loaded at 2 outs. Foul ball. Jade Rhodes disappointed. She thought they were out of the inning.
I think Rhodes did a nice job to complete the play regardless. You see her just a little hesitation right there, maybe with the sense that that ball was in foul.
High fly to the wall. Deep in the warning track, really. Regardless, the Tide leave the bases loaded as Runyon flies out. In Norman, Oklahoma, senior Lauren Chamberlain, 90th career home run, coming in the 4th inning against Baylor. That ties her with Stacy Newman, the star from UCLA from back in the day, for the NCAA record for career home runs. As we take a look at the top 3, we need to point out, Sherry, Lauren Chamberlain's teammate is also hot on the heels of these upper echelons in career home runs.
Yes, Shelby Penley also in the 80s right now, but what a feat for Lauren Chamberlain. So good to see that smile on her face. Part of that is because she loves hitting home runs, and part of that is because that monkey on her back was getting just a little bit heavy right about now. So she certainly deserves all that. She missed a whole bunch of games last season. She hit some of those home runs in 2014 off one leg, and she has really been a tremendous player and a lot of fun to watch.
First pitch swinging for Jenna Abbott to lean off the inning for Auburn in the bottom of the 4th. Abbott, Fagan, Shea coming up. Chamberlain was the top pick in the 2015 National Pro Fast Pitch Draft, and her teammate Penley right behind her. First-time teammates have ever gone 1 and 2 in the NPF draft. Both those players just such great ambassadors for the game. Looking to keep it alive.
Not only did they go 1-2, but they went to the exact same team. The USSSA Florida Pride is the team that drafted both those players. It's the team that also has a player that Oklahoma fans remember well, and Kaylani Ricketts on their roster.
Kaylani Ricketts, two-time National Collegiate Player of the Year.
You're going to reunite a lot of power, a lot of home runs for the Sooners down there in Florida for USSSA.
Hitters count on the way to Abbott. Full count now. Obviously, Chamberlain and Pinley also on that top 26 finalist list for National Player of the Year. It's going to be real hard, I think, Sherry, to whittle it down to a top 10 this year. They couldn't even whittle it to a top 25. They have 26 in there. Ball 4 to Abbott. The offensive juggernaut that is Auburn softball quieted this weekend in games 1 and 2 against Alabama freshman pitcher Alexis Osorio, kind of rounding back up to the productivity that we're used to seeing from the Tigers here in game 3 of the weekend.
And you know, this is a big game for them. In spite of the fact that they have lost the series, I think this is the kind of game that's really going to show you what you're made of. And this is what Clint Myers wanted to see from his team, was some type of a response. They're still behind pretty solidly in this ball game, but he wanted to see his hitters step back up and kind of try to turn it around before the series wraps up and gets entirely away from them.
Sophomore Sydney Waldrop is the pinch runner for Auburn. You never want to be swept in the weekend series. You want to leave on a positive note, win game 3, and kind of try to take that momentum into the next weekend. And it's been a really great start to this SEC campaign for Auburn. They had won 5 straight series before this weekend against Alabama. Fagan to left. Wrong side of the foul pole.
Fagan gets all of this one. And you see how close that one was. That was a blast. You could tell off the bat that one was out.
Fagan's sister, Sammy, had quite a weekend for Missouri. Today, a triple and 2 home runs. 5 for 7 with 7 RBI in the first 2 games. Sammy Fagan's Missouri Tigers are playing Casey Fagan's Arkansas Razorbacks. So the other 2 Fagan sisters in the SEC are squaring off this weekend. And that has been all Mizzou in that series so far. 2-run rule wins over Arkansas for the Tigers. Sammy Fagan's bat, a big part of that. Haley Fagan would like her bat to be a big part of Auburn's continued comeback in this game against Alabama.
Fagan really has struggled this weekend. It's definitely the hardest, most solid contact she's made 3 games.
Ball 4. Teams leading the country in home runs: Oklahoma, Michigan, Auburn up there, USC upstate. Gets production in the home run category up and down their lineup, very similar to Auburn.
Well, you talk about power. These are the teams that you have to be very careful of, because it's that one swing of the bat that changes everything. But you know, we've seen it from Alabama. It's not something we expected coming into this series, that we would see so much power, so many home runs from them. But they really stepped up, and that can get a score out of hand very fast. They've outscored Auburn 19-3 in the first 2 games. A lot of that can be credited to the long balls. Been put on a show just down the road in Auburn.
Anna Gibbs, the pinch hitter for Auburn, in Courtney Shea's spot in the lineup. She has a home run on the season. Just her 18th at bat out of Camden, Alabama. Tigers tonight 1 for 4 with runners in scoring position. Gibbs also a catcher, so we'll see if she stays in the game defensively or if they bring Shea back in.
You're talking about the home run power from Alabama, but it's been just consistency from their offense. You tie this game into it with the 8 hits that Alabama has in this game, and it gives them 30 in the series.
Unplayable, top of the dugout. Compare that to just 10 hits coming in for Auburn this weekend. 5 in this game, though, and a couple runs on the board and another scoring opportunity here in the bottom of the 4th. Full count now to Gibbs. Big pitch on the way from Leslie Jury. Cannot lift that one out of the infield. Demi Turner makes the catch for the first out of the inning. Coverage of college softball on ESPNU back April 26th. As well, college baseball. Florida State, Miami. A top 15 matchup in the ACC. 7 o'clock Eastern next Saturday on ESPNU and watch ESPN. We are back to the top of the lineup for Auburn. Tiffany Howard used to getting on base and scoring, but she does have 20 RBI in the season. And now Clint Myers again with a conversation. Not totally positive what that was about. Sherry, do you have any idea? No.
Looked like they took a ball out. Maybe the ball was marked up, cut up, came out of the game.
Oh, and 1 on the way. That ball gets away.
Well, that's a real break for Auburn. They were unable, they had no outs, unable to move the runners to second and third. They got the pop-up out in the last at-bat, and then this is just a break for them. This moves both runners into scoring position. As you said, Tiffany Howard's the leadoff hitter in this lineup. So again, prime opportunity for Auburn to score in this inning.
We asked Clint Myers, is there an unsung hero of this group? And he brought up Tiffany Howard. He said, she's just having a phenomenal year. It's her consistency, the on-base percentage, the batting average. She knows what her job is. And she just goes and gets it done every day. On base percentage over 60%. Now Patrick Murphy wants in on the conversation. Great time for a sideline reporter. Holly Rowe, please.
Jay Grigsby's been busy back there having conversations with both head coaches.
Two master strategists in Myers and Murphy. One and two now to Howard. Two in scoring position. Inside to even it out.
See Jury mixing it up location-wise. Going inside and outside, trying to kind of decode the mystery that can be Tiffany Howard. For so many pitchers, actually.
Each on an error and a walk today. Plays at the plate, and now two Tiger runners are right there at third. Safe at third. And in the middle of all that fracas, bases are loaded. Sherry, break it down, please.
Well, this is actually a lucky break. When you see this runner, you see the runner break right there. It's not a play she's able to score on. So heads up play by Leslie Jury to try to get the out right over there on Waldrop, who's the pinch runner. And then Waldrop just some nice acrobatics to get away. That is a break, though. That is a break. You had a base running mistake and a run into that move at home plate. And Leslie Jury wasn't having it. She's heads up, stop the run.
Fans on their feet now at Jane B. Moore Field. Opportunity for Auburn to whittle down that 3-run lead for Alabama. Scored all 5 of their runs in the first inning. And one of the best hitters in the SEC, Emily Carasoni, is your batter. Ten grand slams for the Auburn Tigers. 5 belong to this batter, Emily Carasoni. Tied for the team lead in home runs with 17 on the season. But a base hit right now could be comparably damaging. Wouldn't bring as many home, obviously. But with just one out, Sherry, sometimes take us inside the mind of a hitter. Do you want to be thinking home run right now? What is she thinking?
Absolutely not. What Emily Carasoni wants to do is get a good pitch and make solid contact. And I promise you, it's not home run that's in her mind most of the time. Probably not on any of those grand slams. Just do what she does, the mechanics of hitting.
What mechanic was she showing you there? 3-1 to Carasoni. Right at Hayes, and it gets by her. 2 will score, and the runner is safe at third. Great hustle by Tiffany Howard. Emily Carasoni comes through for the Tigers.
First of all, Carasoni does just what we talked about. She gets an outside pitch, she hits it on the nose. That ball gets on Hayes in a hurry. It looks like it took pretty decent hop there to get up top on Hayes. And Clint Myers circling him home, taking advantage of his opportunities. Auburn has not had a lot to cheer about this weekend, so he is sending him home. 2 runners remain in scoring position.
First pitch, a strike to Casey Cooper. We mentioned earlier she was the co-freshman of the year last year, never got to finish my thought. She shared that award with Tennessee's catcher, Annie Aldretti. And we were waiting for the scoring on that one. It was a single to Carasoni through the left side, and then she advanced to second on the throw. That to complement a single earlier in the game as well as a double. Those 2 hits coming in the first and second innings. But it was the 2 RBI that Carasoni coveted, and she delivered. This is the second really long game today for these 2 teams. You know, doubleheaders are grueling in their own right, Sherry. But when the first game takes forever and it's 13-3.
Well, they are. In college softball, the length of the games anymore is getting longer and longer. So you're usually seldom in that 2-hour spot. You get the 2.5 and even knocking on the door 3 hours at times. So the doubleheader day is a very long day.
Perhaps a little look on the face of Leslie Jury of frustration at this point. 31 pitches this inning for Jury. Oh, and then she gets tagged by Cooper. Play at the plate opportunity. This time, Alabama gets it done. Lafayette turned around like, I did tag her, right? Absolutely. Both the Myers men talking to the officiating staff. Clint Myers with home plate ump Jay Grigsby. What's the complaint here, Sherry?
I think Coach Myers feels like the base runner was not tagged. I am guessing. You can see him gesture with his hands at times that possibly she missed her by this much. But the problem is the base runner has 3 feet on either side of the base. So you see Tiffany Howard maybe dodge the tag, but go too far out of the way. So take a look again. First of all, Leslie Jury is hit hard by this line drive. Gets her in the side. That's the second time an Alabama pitcher's taken a hard hit in the last week. Howard, watch the move right here. Goes around. Even with her rear end on the ground right here, she does not appear to exceed the 3 feet that she gets either way of the baseline. And now we have Corey Myers has been ejected. And Clint Myers is still very upset about this call.
Third base ump Christina Drum has stepped in. Now the entire umpiring crew.
So again, Tiffany Howard, the base runner, gets 3 feet on each side of the chalk line that they have to stay in. So you can't just run all over the field. Her attempt to get out of the way right here, she slips She goes down, but look, watch where her rear end is on the ground. That's her down. It's a tough call. That is a very tough call. She gets around it. The tag is never made. And you can see Howard knows she hasn't been tagged. Once she gets, as soon as she can move, she moves.
And there's Coach Myers being asked to leave the field. Clint Myers still apoplectic with the result.
Well, I think the thing is here, and I know that Clint Myers is very upset about this call, but he needs to recompose himself at this point. He's got runners on first and third. If you want to take a look one more time, is the tag made? Is the tag not made?
It looks like it hit the front of her helmet there, yeah.
It does look like it. You can see the ball move. I was focusing a little more on Howard and where she was and not whether the tag was made. But that play is obviously over. The umpires are not going to change their mind on it, and it appears from that last shot that they actually were right. So you have runners on first and third. If you're Auburn, you're still in the middle of your lineup. You're in a good spot, and you're one run down.
See if we can get this situation regrouped and get back to playing here in the bottom of the fourth. Well, Brandy Malero is your hitter. One of the senior leaders for this Auburn team. Still a great opportunity here, Sherry. 60 feet away is the tying run. 2 outs, first pitch of ball. Sherry, how hard is it as a player to kind of get back in the batter's box after a delay like that in a situation of that ilk?
Well, I think Brandy Malero's a hitter. It's what she does. She's probably dialed in at this point. She has to realize she's in a good situation right now. She has a runner 60 feet away, and she's just one run down.
We mentioned it before, but Malero last year, 78 RBI. Set a new school single-season record for Auburn. Second in the nation. Led the Southeastern Conference. We could use one from her right here.
Can we talk about looking at the on-deck hitter and knowing what your situation is? If you're Leslie Jury, you have 2 outs. I would really bear down and try to get Malero, because although she is more of an RBI hitter, she has 18 on the season, more than Morgan Estelle. Morgan Estelle is sort of hot this weekend. She's been very consistent, so I'd like to end the inning right here if I'm Jury. And by the way, Leslie Jury toughed it out right there. She took a shot on that line drive to start the whole chaotic melee that we saw on from the base runners and the tag and all of that. We kind of overlooked the fact that Jury took a line drive somewhere off her body. It looked like maybe her right hip, but she is going right back after it.
A contrast to earlier in the week, you alluded to freshman Alexis Osorio took a line drive off of her abdomen area, taken to the hospital as a precaution to have it examined. I was held out a couple days. Just one game.
Jury looked like she got turned, like it either got her side or maybe even a little bit more on the back side of her. But I don't care. I don't care where that hits you. It's going to hurt.
Full count now to Malero. Staying alive. Eighth pitch of the at-bat on the way. We might have an angle of that ball being lined back at Leslie Jury, Sherry.
Again, the ball was hit well. It is a line drive coming right up the middle. Gets to her. You can see the shot. She kind of gets a little bit of glove on it, but
zing.
Those are scary.
Rolls that one across. Malero now to second base, and Auburn has tied this game.
Auburn gets a break. It looks like the changeup possibly Jury was trying. It gets away from Bell. And then this is just nice hustle on the part of Brandy Malero. She realizes she's got a runner over there at third base. She's coached by Scott Woodard to go ahead. He tells her to take that turn and go on. And we've seen Alabama capitalize with good base running, heads-up base running throughout the game. And now you see Auburn get their side of it. I don't think that Jury is perfectly fine.
There's a pitching change now for the University of Alabama. Sydney Littlejohn is going to take the ball.
Well, again, we talk about this Alabama staff, and they are truly a staff. They're made up of 3 pitchers. Their numbers are good, all 3 of them. Sydney Littlejohn, they are all 3 right-handers, but she has great spin on some movement pitches. She can throw a curveball on both sides of the plate, and she typically stays in the bottom half of the zone, which helps her keep the ball in the ballpark. The fact that you haven't seen Littlejohn is no indicator on where she falls in the order, really. I thought Coach Murphy did a very nice job. Osorio really dominated Auburn last night. He came out with her today to try to just continue that mode and really make sure that he took game 2 and won the series. And he made the decision to start Jury in the third, and I would imagine that he did not hesitate to bring Littlejohn in the game. I think she knew all along that she was in relief.
And Alabama's training staff has taken Leslie Jury inside the dugout, likely to examine what happened there.
Well, she toughed it out. You know, she really showed no signs. She went ahead and kept pitching. But I don't think she was solid. Even the way she went to pick up that last throw, the pass ball, when it was, or the wild pitch rather, that came back to her, it was on the ground in front of her. She did not quickly bend over to pick that ball up.
First pitch a strike from Sydney Littlejohn to Morgan Estelle. Estelle with a pair of singles today, an RBI single in the first to get 2 runs for Auburn in that frame. The other RBI single belonging to Brandy Malero in front of her. We're tied here in the loveliest village on the plains. And 2 in scoring position for the redshirt senior.
This is a hitter I would not want to face right now. Estelle has had a great mentality. If you could just keep your eye on her, she is just a calm presence.
Pops up into the mitt of Marissa Runyon. But a 3-run inning for Auburn. We are tied at 5s through 4. Emily Carasoni, 2 RBI single. Loving it. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. An eventful bottom of the 4th inning helps Auburn tie it up. 3 runs on the board. They already had 2 in the bottom of the 1st. Alabama put all 5 up in the top of the 1st inning. And Alabama's offense this weekend, if you could pick a word for it, and Sherry has, consistent. They need to find that scoring prowess they exhibited early in the game. They've left some base runners since, 5 all told. We've now seen 2 pitchers from each team. The second pitcher for Auburn brought in the 1st inning. The second pitcher for Alabama brought in the bottom of the 4th with Littlejohn.
These 2 teams were tied in game 2. They had 3 apiece in the 4th inning before Alabama just cracked it open in the 5th. They scored 3. They scored again in the 6th, and then in the 7th they put up a 6th spot. It was a total of 13 runs in game 2 for Alabama.
Last year, Jaden Spencer led the Crimson Tide in home runs and RBI. Slow start offensively to her senior season. But Sherry, you mentioned coming around this weekend for sure.
She really is. She got on base as part of that grand slam for Haley McClenny last night. She works a nice count right there. This is your leadoff hitter. Works a walk out of it. It's a great job by Jaden Spencer.
Second walk of the game for Spencer. She's been on all 3 times, bookending the walks around a single. Leona Lafaele walked in the 1st inning, flied out in the 3rd. Sherry Kemp and Kara Capuano with you for Game 3 of a weekend series between 2 of the best teams in the SEC and 2 top 10 teams in the nation. First time Alabama and Auburn have met as top 10 opponents, both ranked in such glorious esteem. 1-1 to Lafaele. A little slow dribbler. Cooper takes it. Hard charging Casey Cooper.
This was a goofy hit ball. It wasn't solid at all, but look at the location. That ball was almost in the dirt inside. Lafaele goes ahead and makes contact on it, and look at the range of Cooper. She practically took it right out of Fagan's glove.
That left side defense for Auburn is strong, Sherry.
Well, and they're just sophomores. Fagan and Cooper are just sophomores.
First pitch swinging for Hawkins. Second out of the inning. Coverage of college softball on ESPNU back April 26th, next Sunday, an ACC matchup. NC State at Virginia Tech begins at 3:30 Eastern on ESPNU, also live on Watch ESPN. We've got NC State, Virginia Tech Sunday, Monday on ESPNU next week. I know that because that's part of my future work schedule. I'll be working those games with Michelle Smith. Back to the top of the lineup, we mentioned the success that Demi Turner has had this weekend. 2 hits in this game. Makes it 6 on the weekend, 4 on the day. I mean, fans at home, if you feel like this game has been long and eventful, this is the second game of the day for these 2 teams. First pitch strike.
Turner's been a very difficult hitter to deal with today, as you mentioned. She's not doing too much. She doesn't try to do too much. She's very good at slapping, just making contact, simple contact with the softball and running.
Floats that one up. Estelle catches it for the third out. Headed to the bottom of the fifth, tied at 5s in all kinds of craziness. Bottom 4 at Auburn. Let us revisit.
Well, first of all, Sydney Waldrop breaks off third on that soft ground ball. Leslie Jury tries to throw her out at home, and it ends up working out okay for Auburn in spite of a little mistake. And then this ball sort of eats up Hayes at shortstop, and a good hustle play. And right here, this one comes off the side of Jury, and it's Howard that gets caught up in the pickle heading it home. We find out after several replays that the tag actually was made. That was a good call, but Auburn eventually ties the ball game up anyway, with Carasoni going home on the wild pitch.
Woo! Well done,
I'm
partner.
exhausted. Auburn's one coach light of a full coaching staff after that whole melee.
Yes, there was an ejection.
Corey Myers headed out.
Jade Rhodes leading off the inning for the Tigers. Sydney Littlejohn is your pitcher now for Alabama. She came in after Leslie Jury continued to demonstrate some struggling, perhaps because of how hard she was hit in the body by the ball. Off the mitt of Runyon, legs it out. Nice hustle by Jade Rhodes. Just long enough to beat the throw after Runyon dropped the ball.
Rhodes doesn't always have to work this hard to get on, but she can. I've watched her lay down bunts for base hits. She's a smart player, and you don't have time to fool around with the ball too long on her, but nice job hustling down the line.
Rhodes, a player that's worked so hard to improve her offense. Just a .218 hitter last year. Came into the weekend batting .339. Jenna Abbott today reached on a walk to get that crazy fourth inning started. Sydney Waldrop was a pinch runner for her. We showed you Waldrop as we began that highlight package there of what happened with Auburn in the bottom of the fourth. Two and one on the way to Abbott, with Rhodes at first. Floats that one down the left field line, out of play. You touched on it earlier, Sherry, but I want to revisit the word that Clint Myers used to describe the Auburn team as destined. And what he meant by that was not they're some special team of destiny. What he meant was they're going to determine their own destiny. He said this team's identity has been that the person at the plate with the game on the line has been coming through. They're picking each other up, and we certainly saw that in the bottom of the fourth. The total team effort to tie this game up. Runyon hangs on to that one for the first out of the inning.
Well, I think that's one of the turnarounds for the Auburn program overall. I think that there were some great athletes there. Coach Myers and his staff inherited some very solid athletes, a good team. But they've made them believe that part of the plan is to finish in Oklahoma City. And if you're around this team, you can feel it. They definitely buy into that whole concept and firmly believe they're going to be there. But a weekend like this can rattle you a little bit. I know they set out to think that they were going to be the first one in over 10 years to win a series from Alabama, that it was a matter of getting through 2 or 3 days and that would be in the books. So the plan was certainly derailed by the performance of Alexis Osorio and also this Alabama offense.
Fagan, a slow roller, back to Littlejohn. Second out. Carly Wallace is your hitter now in that 9 spot. Rotating catchers for Clint Myers. Courtney Shea started the game at catcher. Anna Gibbs came in as a pinch hitter. And now Wallace in a pinch hitting role. She was the starting catcher the first 2 games of the weekend. Nice work by Alabama's catcher there, Chauncey Bell, to keep that ball from sneaking to the backstop. This Auburn softball program wants what their rivalry softball program from Alabama has had. Trips to the Women's College World Series, 9 for Alabama. They've reached the NCAA tournament 16 straight years. Auburn got to the NCAAs last year but didn't make it past the regional round, has never made it to the Women's College World Series.
We talk a lot about that championship for Alabama in 2012, but we shouldn't forget that they played for a championship again last year. They were in the finals. They're the runner-up.
To another SEC team in Florida. Sydney Littlejohn's having a wonderful sophomore year. A pair of perfect games this year. The only Alabama pitcher to throw more than one, and third Alabama pitcher with multiple no-hitters in a season. Joining her pitching coach, Stephanie Van Brakel, and Kelsey Dunn. Demi Turner takes her time with it, kicks it around a little bit. Runners on the corners for the top of the lineup and Tiffany Howard.
This is the second defensive mistake we've seen from Alabama this inning. The first one, Runyon not able to bring in a ground ball by Rhodes, and now Turner not able to find the handle on this one. Alabama's defense has been very good this year. We've talked about the high-quality pitching staff that they have and the good performances they're getting from the circle, but it's also been combined with a great performance overall from their defense. So a couple of uncharacteristic errors in this inning in a tough spot for Alabama in a tied 5-5 game. It's 2 extra outs in this inning.
Outs are precious. And that was exactly what Patrick Murphy told us. The things he wants to see shored up as Alabama marches towards the postseason. Eliminate freebies to the opponents. Freebies in the form walks, hitting a batter with the pitch, but he also brought up throwing to the wrong base, errors, little mental mistakes. He considers that another freebie that can be allotted to opponent. He wants to see 3 outs an inning. Don't give your opponent 4 or 5. 1-1 now to Howard. She's been on every time she's come to the plate in this game and in every game of this season. Reaching tonight on an error, a walk, and a fielder's choice. Scoring once. The SEC leader in batting average. Big pitch coming from Littlejohn with 2 on and 2 outs to Howard.
Littlejohn's doing a nice job in the fact that she's coaxing a lot of ground balls. We talked about her using the bottom half of the zone, and so that's what you'll see result-wise a lot of times is the ball on the ground. Making use of those infielders.
Full count now to Howard. Five Iron Women for this Auburn team, starting all 49 games this year. Howard, Carasoni, Fagan, Malero, and Rhodes, who's just 60 feet away. Draws a walk to load the bases. Carasoni came through in the 4th. Can she do it again? She's 3 for 3 tonight. They're dancing in the dugout now. Rally dance on. Carasoni in the batter's box.
Second time she's come up with the bases loaded, 2 consecutive at bats. She was in the same situation her last time up.
Which allows me to remind everybody that this Auburn team leads the Southeastern Conference with 10 Grand Slams. 5 have come from Emily Carasoni. Into left. What a play! My goodness, Chandler Dare. This could be a game saver right here. And perhaps, Sherry, a Sports Center top 10 nominee.
Chandler Dare has some good wheels, but she gets a good jump on this ball. She lays out, and she keeps Alabama in the ball game. They are tied up at 5 because of that play right there.
Haley McClinney, Alabama's All-American, does such a good job balancing a stoic professionalism, a tremendous work ethic, and knowing when to celebrate the game that she loves. And she will be hitting this inning for the Crimson Tide behind Chandler Dare, who just had the beautiful catch in left field. She'll lead off the inning.
Look at the performance by Haley McClinney in that 3-hole spot that Coach Murphy moved her to.
That's her dad.
The Florida series. You see her dad in the stands. That's his trademark right there, the hat.
And being at all the games. It's a 2 trademark deal.
But again, just a really genius move by Coach Murphy to make that lineup adjustment, get Haley McClinney in a spot where the fact that she puts the ball in play more often is going to produce runs for Alabama.
Speaking of putting the ball in play, great speed down the line from Chandler Dare.
Again, just a nice job, not trying to do too much. You get a little bit of a mistake right there. The ball gets in the dirt, and Jade Rhodes unable to bring it in.
First pitch strike to McClinney. They ruled it a throwing error by the third baseman. That put Dare on first. Foul ball there. Fans, for those of you expecting Arkansas and #1 Texas A&M at 8:30 Eastern, we want to let you know that that game will start on the SEC ESPN network. That's a college baseball game. Or you can just hang with us. Maybe watch that one on Watch ESPN and watch the thrilling finish here in Auburn. Just giving you some multimedia ideas for your home. 0-2 to McClinney.
You know, another thing, you could talk all day about McClinney and the quality of athlete that she is. She struck out last night. That was only the 6th time this season. Overall, it was only the 2nd time she's been struck out in conference play. That takes tough out to a whole new level.
And a great demonstration of her discipline in the batter's box. I mean, we see that with a lot of the great hitters this year. You know, once you're an upperclassman, the book is out on your capabilities. Maddie O'Brien at Florida State. She's not seeing a lot of pitches to hit. You have to be as patient as you can and know when to wait for yours. Because sometimes they'll come. McClinney's walk numbers way up since dropping to 3rd in the batting order to complement her increased RBI production. Helps having speedsters in front of her like Dare and Demi Turner in the leadoff spot.
Well, and the other thing that you might start to see too, and that may be the results of some of those walks, is what we've seen earlier in this game, is the fact that first base is open. You may have a runner on second base, and it's just easier to pitch around McClinney in those situations.
3 walks on the weekend. She's reached base all 3 times tonight. 2 RBI single in the first, a double, a walk, and a single here.
Talk about discipline. McClinney actually goes up for that. If she takes that pitch, it's probably a ball, but she does a great job getting on top of it. That's a ball on the top of the strike zone. Just does a nice job. She just knows how to hit. She just has great instincts for it.
Danae Hayes, your batter now. Trying to move the runners over. They've got 1 in scoring position. They want 2. Hayes with a great game earlier. The senior shortstop, 3 for 4. 4 RBI, 3 runs scored. 2 doubles in that game. Game 2, the first of this doubleheader on this Saturday at Auburn, went 3 hours. We got another one of epic length tonight. Lead runner nabbed. Nice defense by the Tigers.
This is a good play by the whole left side. So Casey Cooper comes up to make the play, charges it, and look at Fagan break on contact. If you have your eye on her, she broke on contact to get that force out. Heads up.
So still 2 on, but just 1 in scoring position for Chauncey Bell. Bell with a pair of solo home runs in last night's game. Those coming in her 2nd and 3rd at bats, in the 4th and the 6th. Hard hit down the left field line. Alabama has taken the lead. Chauncey Bell continues to produce.
This is no surprise that Chauncey Bell comes through again for Alabama. She takes the ball down in the zone a bit, yanks it, but I'm going to tell you something. That is a great play in left field by Tiffany Howard. That was a hard-hit ball. It was a BB. It's a one-skip backhand. She fielded that like an infielder out there and really probably made a difference. That ball gets by her and gets to the wall. You may have realistically seen another run across the plate. As it stands, there was no movement there.
3 RBI on the day for Bell. A crucial RBI in this second game of the day to put Alabama up and bring up Marissa Runyon, who's also had a tremendous day offensively with a pair of home runs in that 13-3 win. 5 RBI in that game for Runyon. Time called. Clint Myers wants to discuss something with Jay Grigsby. Pinch runner. Rachel Bobo is on second. Perhaps he's just making sure that all of the T's are crossed and the I's dotted on the substitution. Meantime, some of the Tide players out of the dugout trying to rile their fans that have made the trip.
Well, one thing that Alabama does very well is they make any venue their home. If you remember 2012, they won that championship in Oklahoma City against Oklahoma. A lot of people talk about the rain delay and sort of the mentality of that Alabama ball club making a difference, and you can just see him sort of reminiscent of that year, that 2012 moment. So that's tells you that's from the top down. That's a mentality that teams have, is to go in there and try to make yourself comfortable, and regardless of the situation, play Alabama softball.
The question was, who was Bobo coming in to pinch run for? Danae Hayes or Chauncey Bell? Clint Myers taking an opportunity to chat with Marcy Harper. His pitching coach is Corey Myers, his son. He was ejected. And all of the excitement there in the fourth inning. And we're talking about the bottom of the fourth, when Auburn was scoring 3 runs to tie this game at 5. Alabama has since taken the lead in the top of the 6th. An RBI single for Chauncey Bell. And another RBI opportunity for Marissa Runyon. Bobo makes good on her pinch running assignment.
Just a nice job. That ball's supposed to be outside, and Harper leaves it on the plate a little more than she wanted to. And the pinch runner pays off. You see the wheels of Bobo scoring from second base. And you saw the effort from Estelle. She came up throwing to home. The ball eventually was cut. It was a good jump by Bobo. She scores on the base hit. And once again, how about the series that Marissa Runyon has had?
Well, just today, a 2-run home run in the first inning, an RBI single here to complement the unbelievable day that she had in Game 2. Eight RBI on the day for Marissa Runyon. 8 over the 2 games.
Yeah, you can take out the Game 1. She's had a great series just on 2 and 3.
Coincidentally, she might want you to take out game one.
She
was 0 for 3 with a couple strikeouts last night. Has responded nicely on Saturday. And another pitching change for Auburn as tonight's starter, Rachel Walters, is back in the circle. Coverage of college softball continuing Sunday afternoon here on ESPNU. Another SEC showdown. 12th ranked Georgia hosting top ranked Florida. That game 3 begins at 1 o'clock Eastern on ESPNU, also on Watch ESPN. Like this series, which was haunted by rain, that one was also altered by rain. They had to play games 1 and 2 of that series today, as game 1 last night, as originally scheduled, was rained out. Today, Auburn and Alabama playing games 2 and 3 because they're predicting rain tomorrow. For those of you expecting to see college baseball in the SEC, number 1 Texas A&M taking on Arkansas. That game is presently airing on the SEC ESPN network. Walters came into this game, Sherry, and struggled from the get-go.
She did. She was the starter, and because she was the starter, that allows her to re-enter the game, which she's done. She threw 35 pitches. She did not have a good outing. She had a couple walks, and all told gave up 5 runs in a very brief starting performance. So we'll see if she can turn it back around. Auburn certainly needs her to try to put out this rally that Alabama has gotten started.
Just 1 out, 2 on for Jaden Spencer. She's been on base every time tonight with a pair of walks and a single. It was the walk that Walters dealt to Spencer that ran her out of the circle in the first inning. Harper came in after that walk.
Auburn's pitching has struggled in the last 2 days. Over the last 24 hours, they've really had a hard time. Their ERA over 10, well over 10 at this point against Alabama.
We saw some things that we didn't know that we'd see this weekend, Sherry. We didn't know that we'd see Alabama freshman Alexis Osorio pitch this weekend because she took a line drive to her abdomen Tuesday night, and she pitched 2 outstanding games in game 1 and 2. Games 1 and 2 to give Alabama the win in the weekend series. We didn't know that we'd see the home run display that Alabama has put on. We knew that their team batting average consistent. They were generating runs, but not by power as much. And we've certainly seen their power in contrast to Auburn's lack of power, a team that came into the weekend with 86 home runs. Spencer! Yowza! Jaden Spencer with a no-doubter, her 4th home run of the year.
Speaking of home runs, Jaden Spencer has seen the ball well over the last couple of days. You can't expect to have any better feeling, and she knew that one off the bat too. You see her just a couple steps down the line. She's fist pumping, and you can see the reaction by Morgan Estelle is shared by this Auburn ball club and probably a lot of folks in those stands. It has been Alabama's party since they arrived in Auburn.
Jubilation decorating the faces of the fans adorned in crimson. 1-0 on the way to Lafayette. Lafayette walked in the first inning, 0 for 2 since. Easy play for Haley Fagan at short for the second out of the inning.
Well, Patrick Murphy has to be just tickled to death to see the performance from Jaden Spencer that he's gotten in this series. She's one of those players. It was big for them last year. Has had a good career, but has really been down, particularly in her hitting this season. So when you look at the numbers, 225 overall coming into this series and less than 100 in conference play, but she has had herself a series.
Andrea Hawkins with the little chopper. All kinds of speed to leg that out. Wow, is she fast, Sherry?
Well, Andrea Hawkins is just like having a leadoff hitter sit down at the bottom of the order. You see that so often. That's sort of the strategy in the lineup anymore. And touch and run. That's what Andrea Hawkins did. It's a great execution.
Back to the top of the lineup, and the red-hot Demi Turner. Hawkins' first time on base tonight. Coming off of off-season shoulder surgery. So she's been a little bit slow to come around this season. This is the 9th batter of the inning for Alabama. We also saw that in the first inning. Third out of the inning. But Alabama puts up 5 in the frame. Chauncey Bell delivers, Marissa Runyon delivers, and Jaden Spencer delivers in a big way as Alabama is doubling up Auburn once again, 10-5. College softball is brought to you by Nissan. Innovation that excites. It's been an exciting weekend overall in Auburn, Alabama. Everybody was looking forward to this weekend series. Sellouts for each of the 3 games. Of course, about a 2-hour, 40-minute drive between Tuscaloosa and Auburn, Alabama helps this in-state rivalry bring out the crowds in droves. Tonight, the attendance over 2,000. 2006, a season high for Auburn, and something to cheer about here in the bottom of the 6th as Casey Cooper leads off the inning with a single. Over 2,000 tonight. Great weekend, packed stands. Auburn still with the opportunity to not only possibly be a top 16 seed, maybe be a top 8 seed in the NCAA tournament, which means you would host both in the regional round and the super regional. That's also obviously available to Alabama. These are 2 top 10 teams. Auburn's RPI a bit higher than Alabama's, but after this weekend, that should help Alabama's RPI.
Oh, there's no question that it will. Has to have an impact. Again, that RPI really based on strength of schedule and then how you perform against that schedule. Things that matter are wins against teams that are ranked higher than you, and also things that matter are losses against teams that are ranked lower than you.
2-0 to Brandy Malero. RPI stands for Ratings Percentage Index, used to rank sports team in pretty much all of the different sports heading into postseason tournaments. Baseball, basketball, lacrosse, softball. Count even now, 2-2 to Malero. RBI single in the first inning, a 2-run frame for Auburn to cut into Alabama's lead. And once again, these Tigers find themselves looking up at a 5-run advantage, as it was in the bottom of the first.
See Little John, we talk about her wanting to use the bottom half of the zone, but as you can see there, she's not afraid to mix in that rise ball. And that's real important. You cannot stay in the same neighborhood, the same geographical area of the zone all the time. You want to force the batters to move their eyes. Change where they're looking. Don't allow them just to focus on the same neighborhood all the time, or it's easier to make adjustments. So even if it's a ball, you hear coaches talk about throwing a waist pitch. And that's a pitch that they don't really expect to be a strike, but they're going to move the batter's eyes. And what we've talked about with Alabama being so successful this year, they've taken those pitches that may be more or less a waist pitch or a miss pitch, and they're keeping them closer to the zone.
Malero yanks that one into right. Determination in that swing, Sherry.
It's a good pitch, located wise. You see Little John try to get this pitch tucked in, and she does it. And Malera just fights it off, gets her hands through the ball, and makes nice contact to get that one through the infield.
So 2 straight singles to open this bottom of the 6th inning for Auburn, and that brings up one of the most consistent hitters not only this weekend, this season, but the entirety of her career, Morgan Estelle. Morgan Estelle among the upperclassmen that Clint Myers inherited in his 2nd year with this Auburn program, and the buy-in from that group almost immediate, resulting in a 40-win season last year, a return to the NCAA tournament. They went 42, 19-1, 11-13 in the SEC, so they've already won more conference games this year than they won last year. They're enjoying their highest national ranking in team history. Outstanding record at home. They had won 5 straight conference series until running into Alabama at home this weekend. A reminder, Auburn finishes up with Arkansas at home and then on the road at LSU. Arkansas, the SEC team that's probably struggled the most in conference play. But this is one of those things with Auburn. Do not look ahead to LSU because we know those are going to be important games. And I think that that's what Clint Myers and the coaching staff do so well at Auburn, teaching the players what it takes to win at this level, to stay focused, to stay determined. It's not about your opponent, it's about how you're playing on that day, period. That's always been the mentality of a man who led Arizona State to 7 Women's College World Series in 8 years. There she goes again. She owns the middle of that diamond. Such a clutch hitter.
It's a nice job by Morgan Estelle coming through, getting a pitch that she can handle. She hits that ball solidly, gets it through, and that helps trim the lead.
As Estelle experienced, 2 on, nobody out. Some support for Little John in the circle. Having fun in Auburn's dugout. Maybe she realized she... That camera there. Don't quit. You be you. Jade Rhodes, your batter now. Single in the 5th inning for her to get it started, but she was stranded at third as Auburn left the bases loaded. That one outside. Rhodes walked in the 1st inning. Out of Sarasota, Florida. Right back at Littlejohn for the first out. Sometimes the pitcher looks surprised when the ball's just right back there, and Sherry, the dimensions, my gosh, when that ball rockets off the bat, it's like it's right back at you before you can blink.
Well, it's quick, and that one was so quick that Littlejohn could have had a shot at third base, perhaps, to get that lead runner, but I'll tell you, she was not ready for that, and she kept her wits about her and got the play she was ready for, took it to first base and got an out. I always say pitchers are never ready for the ball to come back at them, because if you're a good pitcher, you don't expect them to hit it.
No contact, right? Nobody's touching this.
Yes, your visualization before you cut it loose is not solid contact. That's why reactions for pitchers are so important. You just have to have the reactions to play that spot. It's like playing a corner.
Two and one now to Jenna Abbott. Abbott walked in the 4th inning. Got that scoring party started for the Auburn Tigers. Sydney Waldrop, pinch runner, came around to score for her. Abbott tags it over the head of McClenny and over the wall. First home run of the season for Jenna Abbott could not have come in a more timely circumstance for these Auburn Tigers.
Wow, Jenna Abbott is another player that sort of moved around in this lineup for Clint Myers. He jostled around, particularly the bottom part of his order. That put Abbott in the 7th spot, and she comes up big right here. This is not what she's known for, but she tags that one. And Auburn, all of a sudden, is right back in this ballgame.
5 home runs last year as a freshman. Her first home run of her sophomore campaign brings Auburn within 1 in the bottom of the 6th.
They started out this inning 5 runs down.
Yeah. Second 5-run deficit that Auburn has faced in this game, because remember, in the bottom of the 1st, it was 5-0 Alabama. 10-5, yes, here in the bottom of the 6th. And one thing that this game 3 of this weekend series, Sherry, I think it's a potent reminder to the fans of just how effective Auburn's offense can be when they're hitting together as a team. The numbers are there, and in this game we've been able to see it play out. Jenna Abbott has helped Auburn tie the school record for home runs in a season, 87 in 2015 for the Auburn Tigers. We talked a little bit about Haley Fagan's sisters, both playing in the SEC, Casey and Sammy. All 3 were Florida Players of the Year at high school. Dunellen for their dad, Kevin. Kevin is now the head coach of the College of Central Florida. now that his girls have moved on and they're playing their college ball. Struck her out.
It's a good comeback from Sydney Littlejohn. So often you can see pitchers unravel after they give up a big home run. And Sydney Littlejohn dialed back in on Fagan. She threw strikes to her at that at bat. Bounces back with a strikeout.
Carly Wallace, the hitter now. Carly Wallace out of Alpine, California. Kind of the last of the players that knew very early that she wanted to play for Coach Myers. Originally thought she'd be playing for Clint Myers at Arizona State. A long way from Alpine, California to Auburn, Alabama. She made that trek.
And she's important to note, I think, as well, is that she's the only player that followed Coach Myers, either from ASU or a commit that followed him to Auburn. And that speaks to the talent that was at Auburn.
And he's already done a nice job fostering talent within Alabama as well, bringing in a lot of talented freshmen from around the state. Courtney Shea, tonight's starting catcher, a good example of that. Wallace to McClenny for the third out. But Auburn plates four, right back in this thing. If they can hold it within one run, they get to bat once more. We head to the top of the seventh. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. What is SEC softball? 19 runs and 24 hits between two top 10 teams. That's what it is on this night in the sixth inning. A big, big inning for both squads. Haley McClenny coming through. Chauncey Bell with an RBI single. Runyon with an RBI single. Spencer with a 3-run home run. Alabama with 5 in the top of the sixth. But Auburn responds. A 3-run home run from Jenna Abbott makes it 4 in the frame for the Tigers. And we have a 1-run game. And these fans, they have not left. Season high in attendance tonight on the Plains. Over 2,000 in the house. Lots of Crimson. Alabama fans have made the drive. Auburn fans closer by perhaps, also packing the house. I know, that almost looked like a split family there. 2 youngsters next to each other in different t-shirts. This series, Alabama's offense has really come to life, complementing in the first 2 games outstanding pitching from Alexis Osorio, the freshman star.
Well, it has been the combination, so they've done a nice job from the circle. If there's a weakness, it hasn't shown up very blatantly, but I would say it would have to be defense for Alabama. They have made a few miscues, but overall it's not even fair to say that they've been weak there. They've had a great performance all the way around. This is a nice defensive play, by the way, by Fagan. Who knows you got that lefty coming out of the box. She goes backhand, doesn't wait to get set, throws it across her body for the out. It's the only way she was going to get it. So Alabama pitched extremely well. They hit extremely well. And they played good defense. They made a few defensive miscues, but overall, they've had a very good series when they needed to, and it's a tough series. We've mentioned it 100 times. This is a natural rivalry between these 2 teams, and it's only going to get bigger because of the competitiveness that you're now seeing from Auburn.
Certainly going to possibly trickle into which players choose which schools. Two and one to Haley McClinney, who's having a usual evening for her. Been on base 4 times. 2 singles, a double, a walk. Scored twice, 2 RBI single back in that 5-run first inning. Just doing all the things she does in her All-American career. University of Alabama. Hitters count now to number 8. Where do you think Haley McClinney is going to end up ranking in the overall great players that we've seen come through this Alabama softball program that has made 9 trips to the Women's College World Series under Patrick Murphy?
Well, let me play it safe here and tell you she's going to be at the top.
Weak sauce, Kempf. Full count. Almost. Ran it out. Slight hesitation can be disastrous when McClinney is breezing down the first base line.
Well, she makes a very close play out of a very routine play. Carasoni picks it up, and again, talk about throwing on the run. Look how close this is with McClinney. Calls herself safe.
Well, you got to sell it, Sherry. Come on now. Danae Hayes pops out to Malero. Auburn with one last opportunity to tie or perhaps win this thing as we head to the bottom of the 7th in a 1-run game. The Auburn Tigers have come from behind to win in 7 occasions this season, 7 of their 40 victories coming in that fashion. These fans are fired up for the bottom of the 7th. We are back to the top of the lineup. Tiffany Howard, Emily Carasoni, Casey Cooper. They have been a big part of the productivity offensively tonight for the Tigers. Tiffany Howard has been on base every time she stepped into the batter's box. Reached on an error, came around to score. Walked stranded at 3rd. In the 4th, tagged out trying to score. And then in the 5th, walked as well. Left on base is going to be a stat share, I think, that Auburn laments after they look back at the numbers this weekend.
They may very well do that. I know right now they would love nothing more than to end this series with a win, and they are going to get no better opportunity than to start right here with Tiffany Howard. They're at the top of their order. Howard has over a 600 on base percentage. She's been very effective at starting the rally many times this season.
Howard trailing 0-1.
And this is what Little John has to be very careful of. She doesn't want to be the rally starter herself. She wants to make sure these Auburn hitters earn it if they get on base.
One and 2 now to Howard. Clint Myers told us Tiffany Howard was a player that she took a little bit of time to buy in to the coaching that the Myers gentleman brought out to Auburn. But boy, once she did, I mean, it entered the weekend 3rd in the nation in batting average. Enough said. Over 500 as a hitter.
It's hard to tell if that hit her or hit the bat, but apparently it hit the bat. She didn't even make a move to first base. This is what a leadoff hitter does. They try to work that count, take a lot of pitches, and they get on any way they can. That's the leadoff hitter's mentality. You want somebody that makes good contact and consistent contact, but also somebody who's disciplined and has a good eye up there.
Danae Hayes makes the play for the first out of the inning. Deliberate defense there for Danae Hayes.
It's played well by Hayes. That ball's at the top of the strike zone for Howard. She goes ahead and makes contact, and then Hayes, who was crowding a little bit inside that baseline, just makes a quick play of it.
Emily Carasoni has come up in a big way tonight for these Tigers. 2 RBI single and the 3-run fourth. But in the fifth, with the bases loaded, flew out to left. But you'll recall that was an outstanding catch by Chandler Dare.
Yes, it was.
Flew out to left does not really justify what Carasoni was trying to do there. And Dare saved it for Alabama with that catch. Carasoni and Jade Rhodes, the first baseman, tied the team lead in home runs this season. Casey Cooper has the single season record, just 1 home run above what they've produced. She had 18 last year as a freshman, and she's right up in that mid-teens as well. Carasoni, kind of the McClenny of Auburn's lineup. Not exactly a hitter that you really want to give anything too attractive to.
Oh yeah, she's somebody that you definitely want to try to make sure you're throwing in her weak spot. And that might be a little tricky to find.
4-pitch walk to Emily Carasoni. Friendly reminder that our coverage on ESPNU of college softball continues next Sunday, April 26th, NC State at Virginia Tech. Blacksburg, Virginia, also the host this year of the ACC Championship. You can also watch this game live on Watch ESPN. Starts Sunday at 3:30 Eastern Time. Sherry and I will be in Blacksburg, Virginia for the ACC Championship on May 9th. And just as these SEC teams are positioning themselves for seeding in their conference tournaments, that's happening all over the country. First pitch strike to Casey Cooper. Cooper laces it down the right field line. Runners on the corners, 1 out.
See Cooper with that stride, that front leg. She cocks up pretty high, gets it down. It's all about her timing, but this is about how she sees the ball. She is very consistent in that 3 spot for Auburn, and Carasoni knew she was going at least to third on that one.
Pinch runner now for Auburn. Victoria Draper is at first for Cooper. The top of the order for the Tigers tonight, 5 for 11. 3 hits for Carasoni. A pair of hits for Cooper in back-to-back at-bats. Tying run 60 feet away. And Leslie Jury is now back in the pitching circle for Alabama. Well, coming into this game 3 of the weekend series, Alabama made up 2 games on Auburn. They're both at 12-5. Florida winning 2 today against Georgia in Athens to take over the lead in the conference standings at 13-4. But LSU right there. Georgia, a team who's been wildly inconsistent and yet is 11-9 in conference play. They've had certain series where they've looked dominant and others where they've kind of flamed out. So it's just so hard to win these 3-game series in the SEC. And now on the season, both Auburn and Alabama have 5 series victories to 1 series loss. This series lost to Alabama, Auburn's first of the year. They had won 5 in a row, sweeping 3 at Ole Miss, sweeping Kentucky at home, winning 2 of 3 at Mizzou, 2 of 3 at home against Tennessee, and then winning 2 of 3 at Texas A&M.
Both of these teams have Arkansas. It's a common opponent remaining. And then Auburn also has that series against LSU, the very last regular season series. And Alabama will take on Tennessee actually next weekend.
Auburn did not face Florida in the regular season. That's not ahead for them. Might face them in the postseason tournament. But similarly, Alabama did not draw LSU this year. They lost 2 of 3 at home against Florida. That was their only series loss in conference play coming in. Leslie Jury back to finish what she started. 1 out, runners on the corners. Brandy Malero in the batter's box. Malero, a productive night after tough sledding in the first 2 games of the weekend. Couple runs scored, couple singles, and an RBI for her. The first RBI of the game for Auburn back in the first inning.
The big thing here for Malero is all she has to do is get a ball in the outfield to tie this ball game. You got 1 out, you're in a perfect sac fly situation. So she just needs to think about making solid contact and hitting the ball well, and she could tie the game up.
I feel like that's not the first time we've said that tonight about an Auburn hitter. The goal of the at-bat, keep the inning alive. Keep nipping away at the lead of Alabama. Just love the intense energy at Jane B. Moorfield all weekend long, but right now it's like he can just cut it with a knife. It's so thick. Rapt attention from the stands in Auburn. In the last 24 hours, these fans in Auburn have seen 41 runs, 56 hits between these 2 teams. And now it's coming down to the final at bat of Auburn. Or is it?
Malero making sure she protects the zone.
Couple of seniors, Jury versus Malero. A lot of familiarity with these 2. Chopper. Got the out of first, but the tying run has crossed.
So doesn't do a whole lot. This is a ball in the bottom of the zone. She gets on top of it, just sort of a little squibbler. Jury makes the toss down there. And then Lafayette off the base has to make the tag. You're seeing Carasone go ahead and come in and score. But I want to take a closer look at that play on first if we get a chance. That's Coach Myers talking to Coach Scott Woodard over there about the tag situation. It looked like maybe even the ball came out at the end. It
happened so quickly, Sherry.
Positive.
And just a confluence of bodies in the space there. Hopefully we can get another couple of angles on it.
Let's take a look one more time. Watch Lafayette. She makes the tag. It just looked to me like maybe the ball ends up on the ground, but let's see. No, it stays right in her glove, so I think maybe just Coach Myers may be questioning, did it come out? He may be questioning where the tag happened, but regardless, Auburn ties the game up. And during all that happening, you now have the winning run at third base. That's Victoria Draper, who moved on over to third. This is not a bad choice. I'm going to tell you, you have to pick your
Which
poison,
is why the fans are booing.
Estelle, yes.
They want somebody to pitch to Morgan Estelle with the game on the line. They've only seen her come through a trillion times before. Looks like it'll be up to Jade Rhodes to try to plate that winning run. Estelle has been on base 4 of 5 times tonight. 3 singles, a pair of RBI singles at that. And now a walk. But she did come out with 2 outs in the 4th and 2 on, and ended up popping out. Runners on the corners now for Jade Rhodes. Just a friendly reminder that Rhodes is tied for the team lead in home runs for Auburn this season with 17. Having an outstanding offensive campaign in her junior year.
She had a series of a career against Ole Miss earlier this season. She went 5 for 7 in that series. 4 of her 5 hits were home runs.
Wow.
She tied an NCAA record by hitting 4 consecutive home runs. So it's interesting that you see a few weeks later Alabama choosing to walk around Estelle to get to Rhodes. And I don't think it's so much about getting to Rhodes as it is about getting around Estelle. We'll see how they pitch to Rhodes.
How would you pitch to Rhodes, Sherry?
Well, you know, the option again, your winning run is at third base, so your option again is to pitch around her and load the bases and create a force situation at any base, but you'd be doing that to get to Jenna Abbott.
Who just hit a 3-run home run.
Who only homered her last at bat.
Her first of the year, mind you. But what an important hit for this Auburn team. First pitch strike.
They let Estelle go to second easily on that pitch. She took off. Alabama Chauncey Bell made no move.
Now 0-2 to Rhodes. Alabama a strike away from forcing extra innings in Auburn. I feel like I've said big pitch coming about 17 trillion times tonight. None bigger than the one on the way. I love the work our camera guys are doing to try to capture the intensity, the anxiety.
They've been tested tonight.
They have been tested, correct. These fans, some of them wearing rally caps. I mean, I'm nervous. Are you kind of nervous? I'm kind of nervous. This is so much fun.
It's been this way
this
since
is what we live for.
You know, the first half inning, right away, you could.
When Alabama put 5 on the board, top of the first, trying to sweep this weekend series against the Tigers. He's nervous.
Jade Rhodes just gets a piece of that one. Both starting pitchers were relieved, and they are both back in the game right now.
Over 6 hours of softball. Game 2 between these two teams happened earlier today. That went 3 hours, a 13-3 win for Alabama. We're almost at the 3.5-hour mark now of this finale, the weekend series. That wouldn't end 2-2 again. Big pitch coming. Hit Rhodes to load the bases.
Yeah, this one's tight. If you get hit like that, you'd prefer it be in your body somewhere, not in your arm. You can almost feel the pain of Jane Rhodes on that hit battle. Auburn's not a team that's all geared up, all protected up, ready to get hit in there. They don't. That is not part of their strategy, to crowd the plate and get on base by being hit. So they are not padded up for it.
Jenna Abbott stepping into the batter's box. Her greatest memory of her freshman season last year came on the final day when she hit a game-winning 2-run home run in the bottom of the 8th to send the NCAA Minneapolis Regional to a deciding final game. Number 44 has come through for Auburn before. Bases loaded, 2 outs. First pitch strike. Abbott 1 for 5 this season with the bases loaded. Now down 0-2. Regardless of what happens, Jenna Abbott, this Auburn team has shown such a relentless, tenacious nature tonight. Twice erasing 5-run deficits to tie the game. Oh my goodness! And an out at home plate! Auburn trying to make something happen with the pinch runner, Victoria Draper, denied by a pair of seniors in Leslie Jury and Chauncey Bell. We head to the 8th inning, but one more look at what just happened, Sherry.
Well, again, you're looking at Victoria Draper, the runner in that situation. She takes a significant lead and tried to steal home on the throw back to Jury. Jury heads up, Bell puts the tag on. That puts us into the 8th.
Then the 7th happened.
You see Cooper start off the inning initially, or rather Carasoni. Cooper moves her around. Here's the play that allows Carasoni to score and tie the game up, and then a very weird ending play where Draper tries to actually steal home with the bases loaded.
All right then, top of the 8th inning at a packed Jane B. Moore Field in Auburn, Alabama. If you were looking for a good example of what it's like to participate in a rivalry in the Southeastern Conference in softball, and a heated rivalry at that, we had it for you this weekend on ESPNU. The first time that Alabama and Auburn meeting in a series, both ranked in the top 10. Auburn enjoying its highest national ranking as a program. Alabama behind the outstanding arm of freshman Alexis Osorio, winning game 1 in a shutout fashion, 6-0. That was last night. Game 2 played earlier today because 100% chance of rain tomorrow. So they wanted to try to get all 3 in. And Alabama won that second game 13-3. They took a 5-0 lead in this game. Auburn responded, eventually tied it at 5-5. Alabama then scored 5 again in the top of the 6th. Auburn responded, and now we're tied at 10.
Well, Auburn put it on the line there, and that was a called play. You could tell Coach Myers was not surprised. He was not trying to get Draper back. He had Abbott down in the count. So I suppose if that ends the game, it's a great and glorious play. That was a very gutsy call, that's for sure.
2-2 now to Chauncey Bell. In her last 2 at-bats, a couple of singles, an RBI single in the 6th. I talked about runners left on base, and that's been an epidemic for both these teams in this weekend series. But that's kind of what happens when you're playing your rivals. Auburn leaving 16 through the first 2 games, Alabama leaving 14 through the first 2 games. Bell leads off the inning with a walk.
It's representative of the struggles of Auburn pitching. Again, you're in a tie game, you're in a tied ball game, 10-10. That leadoff hitter is vital. I know Auburn talks about this. I know Corey Myers talks about that to his pitchers, make them earn their way on. The last thing you want in that spot is a leadoff walk.
Especially with Marissa Runyon on deck. Boy, the day she is having. A 2-run home run in the first inning of this game 3. An RBI single in the 6th inning. But earlier today, 5 RBI and a pair of home runs in the second game of the weekend series against Auburn. She's been Alabama's RBI machine. At least 1 RBI in 13 of the last 15 games. You can make it 14-16, including tonight's effort. Alabama had 42 straight innings without allowing an earned run. But that was snapped in the second inning of that earlier game 2 today. And Auburn put 3 on the board and took a 3-2 lead in that game. Alabama then scored 11 unanswered runs.
Wallace jogs out to have a conversation with Rachel Walters. Walters struggling a little bit with the strike zone, that's for sure. Just issued the leadoff walk and is behind in the count again. It's a tough spot to be, especially with the production that you've seen from Runyon, and on deck is Jaden Spencer.
Lexi Davis in the bullpen for Auburn.
Lexi Davis was the starter in game 2 today. She had a tough outing. She gave up 11 earned runs. She pitched 5 2/3. Walked 5.
In this game, Alabama has left 9 runners on base to finish that conversation. Auburn has left 11 out there. 2-1 to Runyon. Gets under that one. Morgan Estelle calls off Brandy Malero. Easy play in center. Jaden Spencer with a 3-run home run in her last at bat. 3 for 3 with a walk. She has reached base in all 4 plate appearances tonight. Great day for the senior out of Waterloo, Iowa. Do we think we have a pitching change, Sherry?
It appears Clint Myers is going to relieve at this point. He's taking Walters out. He's going to relieve her with Lexi Davis. We talked about her earlier outing today. She had a little bit of trouble. Lexi Davis is a pitcher that Auburn relied on a lot last year. She's a pitcher that Clint Myers talks about with fondness. He says we need her to be the old Lexi. She struggled a little bit. I still have a lot of belief in her, a lot of confidence in her. She has a drop ball. She can throw that in the zone. She can also get it dirty. She can throw it out of the zone for a strikeout pitch. She needs her changeup. She needs to throw that for a strike, and she needs to establish that pitch early. And then the complications that we've seen so often have been because this Auburn staff works from behind in the count. She needs to get ahead in the count. 5 walks earlier. She also hit, or Auburn overall in that game too, hit 4 batters.
See Clint Myers out there talking to Lexi Davis, of course his pitching coach. Corey Myers was ejected earlier in this game in a whirlwind of events in the 4th inning. So he's pulling double duty, the head coach right now. He told us, Sherry, Lexi just needs to go out there, compete, and let it go. When you're struggling in the circle, how hard is that to do?
Well, it can be very difficult. It's just like anything. It kind of gets in your head. It can get in a defensive player's head to make the play, or we've seen in baseball and softball to make the throw. Hitters get up there, they get defeated, they're worrying about the last at bat, and that same thing can happen to pitchers. It's very difficult. We always try to talk about the most important pitch is your next pitch, but that's easier said than done sometimes. Davis threw 129 pitches earlier today in game 2. Jaden Spencer has been one of the most feisty hitters all weekend to deal with out of this Alabama lineup, but this is a big out. Spencer sits in the 7th spot. After her, you have Lafayette and Hawkins, but you want to try to make sure you make Spencer out number 2 and in the bottom half of this Alabama lineup if you can.
Auburn pitchers today have thrown 149 pitchers. Alabama's pitchers have thrown 204. So this is combined pitch 354 on the way. 1-2 now. $25 hits tonight, 22 hits between the teams in the first 2 games.
It's a good pitch. That's the drop ball that Lexi Davis can throw right there. She did a nice job. She bent it at the end. It breaks right away from the swing of Jaden Spencer. And that's the best at-bat that the Auburn pitching staff has had against Spencer in 3 games.
Leona Lafayette. First pitch, 2-run home run. Fourth of the year. Alabama takes the lead back 12-10.
Leona Lafayette can also take a big sigh of relief. She's had a little bit of a tough year offensively, too. Another one of those Alabama hitters that has not been able to get the power. You see it right there. Tons of excitement all the way around, and Lafayette feeling really good on that one. Big hit.
I mean, Patrick Murphy tried to tell us, Alabama versus Auburn in softball, it doesn't have the magnitude, the intensity of Alabama versus Auburn in football. Au contraire, mon frere. Tell that to your players, because both sides, these young women, their passion for this weekend series has been palpable in every expression.
Yeah, you can't play down this series. The players know it. They see it in every other sport. They know it's big for them.
Hawkins singled in her last at bat. Showed her outstanding speed. 1 for 4 in the game. Two-run advantage now for Alabama. Well over 3.5 hours in this third game. Hawkins floats that one into left. An easy play for the third out of the inning for Tiffany Howard. Does Auburn have one more comeback within? We'll find out together. In this weekend finale between number 7 Alabama and number 6 Auburn. Twice we've seen the score tied, but we're not talking 1-1, 2-2. We're talking 5-5 and 10-10. 4 home runs, 20 runners left on base, 19 RBI between the two teams, 5 pitching changes, 5 errors. The starters left, came back, and then another one left. I mean, a coach ejected. What else could we possibly see in one of the most heated, intense rivalries in the SEC and the nation? "22 runs, the highest combined score in this series history. Jenna Abbott is the batter again. Remember, she was in the batter's box when Victoria Draper was caught stealing at home. Did that make the graphic? Is that probably caught stealing at home? You don't see that every day either. It has been unreal. 3-run home run for Abbott coming in the 6th inning, a 4-run frame for Auburn.
We're going to see Jenna Abbott with the very same count she had when the last inning ended with the attempt to steal home.
That one misses. Got her. 4th strikeout of the game for Leslie Jury.
Jury's moving the pitches around a lot. She likes to throw that screwball, which would actually put a pitch on the outside corner from Abbott. But right here, she just tucks in. Looks like just a fastball target for strike 3.
Haley Fagan, your batter now. Tough weekend offensively for Auburn's shortstop. Came into this game today, this game 3, 1 for 7, 0 for 3 tonight. Did walk and scored a run as a result of being out on the base pads, but now down 0-2. Jenna Abbott was Leslie Jury's 4th strikeout of the game, but remember, the last time she had a strikeout in this game was back in the 3rd inning. She was relieved in the 4th by Sydney Littlejohn, came back in the last inning.
See Jury, again, we talk about those close misses for the Alabama pitching staff. They really try to make a hitter make a decision. They don't make it easy. Trying to pick away. She gets herself ahead in the count and then tries to pick away against Fagan and get that strike 3.
Saw a quick shot of Stephanie Van Brakel, Alabama's pitching coach in her 4th year with her alma mater. Not too long ago that we saw her in the circle for the Crimson Tide.
Not too long ago. Van Brakel's approach to her pitching staff is methodical. She definitely plans everything out. Whole years of workouts for her pitchers. Try to make sure they get the results they want, the results they need when it comes to in-season time.
Fagan has worked to a full count. Van Brakel, Kelsey Dunn, and Sydney Littlejohn, who you saw tonight. The only Alabama pitchers with multiple no-hitters in a single season. Ball 4.
Leslie Jury is all around the strike zone. Works back inside. We saw her go away, away, away. She comes right back inside with that one, and you can see by her reaction she wanted that one.
That body language says, please, Mr. Grigsby, please. Jay Grigsby said, walk. Take your base. Patrick Murphy.
Coach Murphy may be having a little discussion.
Oh, and here comes Alexis Osorio, actually. That's what's also happening. I'm sure it started with, come on, man. But now we have another pitching change. We have now seen all 3 of Alabama's pitchers, just as we have seen all 3 of Auburn's pitchers in this game.
Osorio comes in after a lot of success against this Auburn team. She has gotten quality experience, none better than she's gotten over the last 36 hours. She controls her pitches very well, and she has a lot of fantastic movement. She loves to do it with the curveball, but you'll also see her on that rise ball. She threw 266 pitches on this series so far, game 1 and game 2. She gave up 10 hits and only 1 earned run. She put together a shutout and a 13-3 win against one of the most offensive teams in the country.
The 13 strikeouts in game 1 ties her season high, also her career high, because she is a fab freshman out of Riverside, California, one of the top 25 finalists for the NFCA Freshman of the Year award, along with her teammate, second baseman Demi Turner. Alabama and LSU, the only 2 programs nationally with 2 candidates up for Freshman of the Year in that top 25 finalist list. Carly Wallace, your batter for Auburn.
Just Tuesday night against UAB, Osorio took a tough line drive to her body, to the front of her body, that really scared, I would imagine, her and coaching staff and any Alabama fans. Took her out of that. She did not play at all on Wednesday. Her first time back was last night in this Auburn series, and she was no worse for the wear, Kara.
I'll say, Sherry. Loaded the bases in the first inning, struck out the side, ended up with 13 Ks, twice striking out the side in an inning. And ahead of Carly Wallace, 0-2. For a game that's almost at the 4-hour mark, you can still see the urgency in the faces of these Auburn players. Wallace into the gap in right. Runners hold at second and third. Haley Fagan at third. Carly Wallace at second. Drilled a double to the wall. New life in these fans, Sherry.
This is a good shot by Wallace. This pitch gets up. It's in a good place to drive. Wallace does exactly that. She goes with that pitch on the outside corner. That is a big double. It puts two runners in scoring position. The tying run is at second base in scoring position. And the greatest thing about this whole situation is that Carly Wallace has turned this Auburn lineup over to the top.
Tiffany Howard hitting next. Kelsey Bogard's a pinch runner at second base for Carly Wallace, with Haley Fagan at third. I don't know about you, Sherry, but my scorecard is a sea of ink. That's all it is. It's now officially in hieroglyphs. Tiffany Howard is your hitter. Tiffany Howard of the over 500 batting average coming into the weekend, hitting .514. Can't state enough how impressive it is. This is a player who has reached base safely in every game for Auburn this season. Every single game. This being game 49 of the year. Howard 1 for 2 against Osorio earlier today with a walk. Drew 2 walks from Osorio in game 1 of the weekend last night. Alabama trying to sweep these Auburn Tigers on the road. Tigers playing to avoid that.
We've seen Osorio in these two games get herself in some tight spots and work her way back out of them. She's got some great pitches. She's able to do that, pull out some key strikeouts.
That foul down the left field line.
She had 13 strikeouts total in game 1. She had 4 more in game 2. She has a total of 17. See the Alabama defense playing a severe shift. McClinney standing in left field, really left center field. Center field's open. Chandler Dare protecting the line. And this is what they have to do. They have to work outside. If you're going to pull that big of a shift, you're going to have to work that outside part. And that was a very good pitch by Alexis Osorio. Wow. Tough pitch to take.
feel like with Tiffany Howard's at bats, you should just start her at full count. Doesn't it seem she eventually works herself into full count a high percentage of the time? So patient, disciplined, courageous. Ball 4 loads the bases.
It's actually another very good pitch by Osorio. Howard takes it and puts the winning run on first base.
Now you can bet these fans are on their feet now at Jane B. Moore Field. The words are harder to come by in hour 4 of the broadcast. Emily Carasoni, your batter, again coming up with the bases loaded tonight. That happened in the 5th inning. It also happened at some other point, but as I said, my scorecard is a mess. It's a sea of ink.
They were back-to-back at bats, but she came up with the bases loaded. And here she is again.
Thank you, Sherry, in the 4th and the 5th. That is correct.
I can never read your scorecard,
I
so
know,
I'm
it's
not
a
going to
mess.
try it
And in the
now.
4th, that was when she had a 2 RBI single. And she's 5 for 8 with the bases loaded this year. All 5 of those hits have been home runs. The team has 10 grand slams. Carasoni has half of them. 2-0 on the way. 1 out. Bases loaded. Into left field, out of play.
Now remember, on a ball like that, if it's caught, you look at the location of that, the runner can still tag. Runners can still tag. It's a 2-run deficit. You have to be careful about making those decisions and giving one up.
Down even now after a couple of foul balls, 2-2. Raucous crowd. All kinds of background noise and activity. Alabama putting up 2 in the top of this 8th inning. And a 2-run home run by Leona Rafaela.
Auburn did touch Osorio for 5 hits in each of the first 2 games, game 1 and game 2, which were complete games for her. They got 5 hits each, but only 1 earned run. They got that one in game 2.
We are now officially in our 7th hour of softball in Auburn today. Single down the left field line. Game is tied. Of course it is. 3 ties now, Sherry, at 5-5, 10-10, and 12-12 in the 8th. Wow.
And Carasoni comes through again. That ball's off the plate, but she's in a count that she has to protect the zone. She reaches out just to make contact, doesn't care if she fouls it off. That ball hugs the line, and it's good enough to score 2 and tie this ball game. Nice job by Emily Carasoni. Add 2 more RBIs to a ridiculous total that she already has.
Four RBI in the game for Carasoni brings her season total, Sherry, to 71. And Leslie Jury is coming back into the pitcher circle.
Leslie Jury has been a workhorse tonight for Alabama. She was the starter She left the game after she actually took a body shot. She still faced a couple more hitters, and she came in relief. She left again. And that's some of the dynamics of working through that flex player in the lineup. Some tricky coordination there to allow her to come back out of the game, or appear to come out of the game, and then come back in the position of pitcher again. So they're fiddling around with that flex position. She's never really technically taken out of the game.
Two on, one out. The ever-capable Casey Cooper stepping into the batter's box with her over 400 average and her over 50 RBI. Back-to-back singles for her in her last two at-bats. Both of those were against Sydney Littlejohn. We're now even, 12 runs and 14 hits each team. 24 and 28. It's definitely testing the range of my higher math skills, Sherry. Extra innings.
Cooper's another money player for Auburn. You sit in the three-hole of a lineup like this, it's because you get it done a lot. We saw her get it done in her last at-bat. The shot. Good player to have up in this situation if you're an Auburn fan.
Cooper, Hayes, double play, no! Ball gets away, ball game. Alabama took a chance, high risk, no reward. Auburn wins in walk-off fashion, 13-12.
That's about as many numbers that'll fit in the box. A 13-12 game now. Alabama tries to wrap this whole thing up. They're in a one-out situation. They try to turn the double play. So the ball initially goes to Hayes. She tosses it to Turner. If they can turn it, they're out of the inning. The throw goes wide and the run scores.
Tiffany Howard scores the winning run as the Auburn Tigers avoid the sweep. Took extra innings to do it, but Auburn beats Alabama 13-12 after falling to the Crimson Tide in the first two games of this series. The Tigers are now 13-5 in conference play. For Sherry Kempf and our outstanding ESPNU crew, I'm Kara Capuano. Thank you for spending 4 hours with us watching the sport you love on ESPNU on a Saturday night. Auburn with the win, now 13-5 in conference play.